I'm Tyrone Steele, and here's the deal. He ain't no Neil, but he's just as real. The little stick with the upright wick that carries on when the fat man's gone. So you can stay and maybe play, or you can split. We don't give a shit.
Why are you airing shit like this?
Well, would you like to blow away your dog friend's kiss, or maybe your wife? Well, go to the convention hall where a license and a gun is easy to buy. That's right. NRA says everything's fine. Get yourself a gun and have a good time. Well, go buy a gun, throw it in the trunk, pop top of the get good and drunk. All right. In a mall or a town where there's people all around, just open up and go up and down. That's right. You know why? NRA says everything's fine. Get yourself a gun and have a good time. Come on, everybody, exercise it right. Thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God, can't be human life. Well, go teach your son how to use a gun. Show him some down-home Christian fun. That's right. Praise the Lord. Maybe pack it in his lunch so when things get rough, he can leave everybody in a pool of blood. All right. Now your son can shoot like a man, they call.
Okay.
NRA says everything's fine. Get yourself a gun and have a good time. NRA says everything's fine. Get yourself a gun and have a good time.
10:02, 560 WQAM, George in for Neil again. This is getting pretty, at least I wasn't in the shower when he called me this time. I was just, shaking myself out of bed. But he blew his voice out yesterday. He shouldn't have come in, and he did anyway. And then he got all hysterical with the gun guy that called in. That's why I played that. Because obviously we can't get away from this issue today. It's all over the paper. It's on the front page about the gun bill and everything. Robert, the Grim Reaper, is in the studio today. And you're shaking your head already because I already know, all you liberal Jews, you hate the guns. It's as simple as that. And I guess I'm going to be arguing with everybody today. And people don't understand how I can be in the middle of this issue, but I am. And nevertheless, I'm going to try to explain that as best I know how. And we're going to talk about gun things and Rosie and Tom and Howard. I've resisted that for a long time, long time.
Hey, it's Howard. Howard Sperm.
But he put me over the top yesterday, so we're going to talk about the drone a little bit today, but mostly about the guns and the Rosie, because that's all over the news. Talk about a happening. So anyway, Neil blew his voice out. He barely made it to the end of the show. Called me this morning in Morse code, making beeping noises on the phone because he could barely talk. Yesterday afternoon he couldn't talk at all. He has the laryngitis thing. So hopefully, he'll take it easy so we can have a show on Monday. But nevertheless, you're stuck with me today. So everybody who hates that concept, here it is. Tune out now. Go find a life. Go find something to do. I know that's a challenge, but consider it practice for the day and 3 years and the rest of this one when Neil finally does go off the air. You're going to have to find a life or commit suicide. So this could be a good practice day for you. It's Friday. You could get yourself started on a good weekend or something like that. I don't know what you lifeless holes do when Neil's not on the air besides call and bug us or whoever else is on the air. But, it's a practice day for you. You can practice having a life today because this is what you're stuck with. Sorry, wasn't my idea. I was looking forward to another show like yesterday, which was great because I love all these hysterical shows with the gun thing because everybody's very passionate about it. And I'm very dispassionate about it. I'm very blasé over the whole thing. I think it's all silly. Here in the big city, everybody's crapping their pants about the guns. In most places, they're not an issue. They're like any other piece of furniture. They're like the pictures on the wall. They're there. They take them down when they go hunting or shooting or something like that. They put them back. Not a big issue in people's lives in other parts of the country, except, of course, for the big cities, especially over here on the eastern seaboard. And then you got people like Rosie that are very excitable on the issue, and that's what happened yesterday. And see, what gets me is I thought we all understood, but I guess we don't. I thought we all understood that people in show business like Rosie and Tom Selleck and Howard and Marilyn Manson, They want people talking about them. Their fame and their fortune is based on people talking about them. Has anyone mentioned Tom Selleck since Magnum and Three Men and a Baby or whatever the hell, the Friends? He was on Friends for about 5 minutes. Other than that, he's been out of sight, out of mind for a long time, and he would have continued to be, in spite of this new movie that he's making the rounds plugging, because I don't watch any of those shows. Rosie, The Fat Dyke, and all these, Regis and Kathy Lee, all these shows, The View. I'm going to watch The View with Babwa whenever she decides to be there. I don't watch these shows that he goes on. I wouldn't have seen this movie, but here we are. We're going to talk about him today because of this event. So what's he all been out of shape about? What's he all pissed off about? That's exactly what people want to see, is some confrontation. Rosie, the queen of nice. She makes me sick. She makes me sick. She should do more shows like that where she jumps over the desk and ambushes people. And Tom, instead of going, oh, what is this? What are you doing? He should have given it back to her. He should have said, listen, you fat dyke, get off my ass. I just did an ad. They paid me money, so get off my ass. That's what people want to see. And now we're talking about him. Maybe they planned the whole thing out. And then you got Howard, the drone. Howard, he's a drone. He's a male bee because his show sounds like somebody stuck a microphone inside a beehive. I am so great. I am so good. I swear to God, he's got this sixth sense that if 3 cameras get together in any part of New York, he knows where they are. His little tiny penis gets hard and points him in that direction, and he has to go running over there and stick his nose into the middle of it to get the media talking about him, which is his only talent. His one and only talent is to find out wherever the cameras are congregating and somehow thrust himself into the middle of it. Yes?
You gotta admit, he actually does get good guests, though.
I care nothing about his guests because it's just another ass-sucking, guest-oriented show. That's all it is. And once upon a time, so I hear, so I have been told, once upon a time, he did, compelling and provocative radio. I haven't heard it. All I've heard is a steady, constant droning sound. Yes,
well, it's
Robert.
not bad when he actually, on his TV, when he has on a TV show, and he actually shows the women that he gets on his show.
The skanky, stretch mark, tattooed, old pillow creases on their face broads that I wouldn't.
No.
Oh, geez, I'm on the wrong.
Okay.
See how excited I am already? See how excitable this whole issue is? I wouldn't them with his tiny penis. They're so skanky.
Like Julia Roberts?
Who?
Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts? Whatever. What did he ask her? See, I don't listen to the show. I tried when we went to New York for a little visit. I tried listening to it, and the wife had to smack me to drag me out of the little guest apartment that Goldstein was letting us use because I'm sitting there waiting for anything to happen. And come on, honey, it's Howard. Anything's going to happen. Something any second now. It's Howard. He's going to say something funny. Just wait. And it didn't happen for 4 days in a row while we were there. And then he came on the air down here. And for a month straight, I listened to that crap. I am so good. I am so great. And I know the Howard holes are going to be calling today. Let me save you some trouble. Baba booey, baba f***ing booey, okay? All you lemmings out there, all you really, really easily amused people. Go shave a beaver. Oh, wow. I outgrew that brand of humor when I went into 8th grade. So they're all going to be calling, and you're jealous. You better believe I'm jealous of Howard. I wish that with no talent and by expending no effort whatsoever, I could make millions of dollars a year. Wouldn't that be great?
Love to have that paycheck.
I'd love to have that paycheck. Talk about a product of hype and nothing but hype. And again, I understand 100 years ago, he said crap on the air. He said dickhead. Well, you know what? He's not allowed to say it anymore. And he can't say asshole, and he can't say pussy. But we can. I mean, I swear to God, there should be a warning label on that show. Do not drive or operate heavy machinery while listening to this show. It should be on at night. There would be a cure for insomnia across the country. The droning nothingness that's going on from there. So he thrust himself into the middle of this crap, and he goes, oh, Rosie doesn't want to debate me. She doesn't want to have a conversation with somebody who can communicate. No, she just doesn't want to give this publicity whore, this publicity barnacle, any more publicity. And God forbid that I should defend Rosie, because she makes me sick. She makes me want to puke. But nevertheless, why would she talk to Howard? I wouldn't talk to Howard. Nobody I know would talk to Howard, unless possibly some of my very desperate friends would talk to Howard if he'd let them take a look at some of those shaved skanks that he gets on the show.
I'd definitely have to say that Rosie is definitely the worst. Either that or Roseanne. Roseanne's pretty bad.
You're talking too much. People are going to start coming in here and saying, what the hell is this with Robert? We'll talk Star Wars a little bit later when all the calls drop off, assuming that they do, because everybody's very passionate about this whole gun thing. And hopefully we'll get a few more calls except the Baba Booey holes. Isn't he still on right now? Doesn't he go on or something like that?
Doing the news now.
Doing the news? Well, whatever. Have fun. We're not even on at the same time for the most part. Have fun, all you guys, with this incredibly boring radio. God bless America. There are lots of very easily amused people out there. It's amazing to me that this battery of scientists, these 10 guys that he has revolving all around him, and Jackie the Joke Man, I take it back. Neil Simon is not the most unfunny human being on the planet. It's Jackie the freaking Joke Man. Jackie is a joke, man. I saw that stand-up comedy routine he didn't crack a smile. So not only can Howard not come up with his own material, but he's got this really incredibly unfunny person writing his really bad material that he can't even come up with on his own. And that's the only talent that he has, is he has that uncanny sense that he knows where the media eye is looking, and he'll jump into the picture of it. Look at me, I'm Howard, look at me. I don't want to look at you. You're ugly. The skanks you get on your show are ugly, and you're just another ass-kissing interviewer. That's all. And you are the one thing that a radio person should not be, and that's really horribly boring. 12 after 10 on 560 WQAM.
You thought that I was dumb and stupid?
Retire, stern, your day is done, stern. Time to sit alone in your office and play with yourself.
Yes.
A time to be gone, a time to get lost. Time not to hear Baba Booey call you boss.
Oh!
Time to sign off, time to say next. A time not to hear how the millionaire can't get any sex.
Are you sure?
Call it a day, stern. Just go away, stern. Go sit in front of your TV and watch your cartoons.
Okay.
Your show's gotten stale. It no longer smokes.
No.
You wouldn't pay your voice guy or the man who wrote your jokes.
No.
You've had out your show playing 7-year-old bits. I'm really sad to say, but your show has turned into shit.
Sorry we had to end it that way, but of course we're not that far along yet. We're not that evolved where we can say the S word, where we can say but nevertheless. 18 after 10 on 560 WQAM. If you're turning in late, Neil blew his voice out yesterday, doing a really good show. I love the passionate shows, and it doesn't matter what they're about. See, that's what neither Rosie nor Tom understand, unless they're pulling a fast one on us, is that it doesn't matter what they were arguing about. Everyone's all goosey because they were arguing, because nicey Rosie and nicey Tom were having words. They were having an exchange, and she's all hysterical about assault weapons. As the people that don't understand anything about weapons are hysterical about assault weapons. It's just a word. An assault weapon will kill you, won't kill you any more effectively than a regular rifle or another kind of gun. It's just a word. Sorry, I had to greps. I got belching music queued up if I have a spell. Well, I had the Dunkin' Donuts guys were in here again. It was Dunkin' Donuts Friday, and they make these the egg things, and I always get extra bacon and ham to be extra kosher. With cheese, of course. I got to get my Fleischig and Milchig in there. And I just choked one down fast. And I'm not even having a carbonated beverage, but nevertheless, we all know how eggs get you going. So anyway, Neil blew his voice out, and he won't be back until Monday. He'll be back Monday. It's not one of these big scam things. He called me, and he could barely talk. I mean, there was no way that he could do a show today. So you're stuck with me. Sorry, this is what you're stuck with. So I don't know what everybody's all, Tom's like, being all cold and not talking about this. Talk about it, you idiot. This is what people want. They want a big cat fight on the Rosie O'Donnell show. Obviously, they like that stuff. Look at Jerry Springer. Those numbers are going through the roof. He's whipping that Oprah's ass, whipping Oprah ass. And Rosie, she's not going to succeed by being all nicey. That's what they want, hysteria. Even though she was, coming from left field. No pun intended. No pun intended with that. And Tom is being all cool. Now, you see, you're getting all excited. You said you were going to be calm about it. Nobody wants to see anybody calm. Start screaming at each other. Start throwing crap. Throw your cup of coffee in her face. Whatever. Say, here's an assault weapon for you, bitch. That's what people want to see, and it worked. We're talking about them. Can you believe it? The two most boring people in the world, second only to Howard, and we're talking about them. I swear to God, he's like a media lamprey. That's it. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a barnacle. I already said that. That's all he can do is jump in front of the camera and jump up and down. Look at me. Why don't you do a good radio show? Maybe then people will start paying attention to you. I know he gets good numbers, but there's nothing else going on. I don't know what's going on in other markets, but in this market, there is no morning show. If Rick would stop talking about the stock market, they would probably get numbers like Howard's, even though they're on AM. Nobody ever tunes into AM, so they've got a handicap going on there. But if they brought Bob and Tom down from West Palm and put them on FM, nobody would listen to Howard, because Bob and Tom are funny. How revolutionary to have a funny morning show. Miami, hello. Oh, the phone's not working. We didn't check the phones. And with everything that we were doing, we didn't check the phones, and you've never done this before. Well, maybe I'll just go through the whole thing, and you know what? We can take a break early and then just take a whole bunch of calls and load it all up, even though I just came back from the break. Or do you want to do it on the air? We do it on the air. We've been doing it for days now.
Whatever makes you happy.
Do you know what to do? I would have to walk you through it. You have to crawl under the board. Joe knows how to do it. Here comes Joe Costello to the rescue, who went and saw Star Wars again. He said that I'm full of crap. Everything that I said was full of crap, but everyone else says you're full of crap. Grim Reaper, he said it was it blew.
I don't think you want your phones reset, do you?
Oh, like I said, boy, it sure was great. Best lightsaber battle I ever saw in my life. Please reset my phones. I go over here to the sound effect bank, and we make sound effects.
I want you call if he wants. I want to get you.
I think that's enough. You can plug it back in now. Okay, and then all the calls disappear, because this is what happens. Duff actually had to come in here this morning and load all the rejoins in, so they're all going to be Marlon's rejoins, because that's what he wanted to promote. See, I told him, put the Joe Costello rejoin in there. How are we going to plug your tomorrow's show? Why don't you just pull the mic up while Robert's resetting the phones and plug your show tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning on Motorsports Saturday, we'll be live from the Homestead Motorsports.
Oh, you're going out?
Yeah.
Whoa!
We'll be down at the track.
Moving on up.
There's a series down there, the ARL series. George Corso will be racing there, so we're going to do the show that morning. We also have Jeff Green, the Busch Series driver, drives the Kleenex Chevrolet, and we're working on some other stuff as we speak. So
that means nothing to me, but I'm sure that all your
He's
fans,
a good guy.
all your fan will be right
Nashville
there.
This year.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
You're the best, George.
I love you, man.
And I went and saw Star Wars last night again.
Yes.
And it was just as good. The lightsaber fight was awesome. The droids were great.
The droids were great. And that was it.
And I think the people that call you are just
they're
pissed
just
off lemmings.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Thank you for resetting the phones. Off you go now. So the gun thing, and oh no, he's turning the lights off. Excellent. The gun thing. It's so amusing to me to watch the people all hysterical because there's no middle ground here apparently. And Neil gets faxes, he gets the phone calls like the guy that called yesterday, and he was ridiculous because that's just it. Everyone is so extreme about it. The people who hate the guns want to take everyone's guns away, even though that'll never happen in a million years. And everybody pretty much admits that, but that's what they want. And then the gun huggers don't want any kind of restrictions whatsoever on the guns, in spite of and I don't understand either one because there's so many dangerous things in the world, and guns are dangerous, no question about it. They're incredibly dangerous. That's what they were designed to be. They were designed to be dangerous. They were designed to kill people. What do you need a handgun for? You can't go hunting with a handgun. No, you can kill people with a handgun. That's why people buy handguns. To kill people. What kind of people? Whoever the hell pisses them off. That's exactly the point. That's exactly what they want to do. Anybody that comes in their house and,
no.
Oh, geez. You see, when I get excited, I lose it. I can't be excited and technically ept at the same time like the old man. One of these days, maybe. Anybody who with them, that's who the gun is for. That's why they have guns. And the rogue government facts that we got, that was so hysterically amusing. But nevertheless, that's the mentality that we're talking about, is people who are afraid of the government. And no, you and your handgun and your rifle and your shotgun are not going to stand up to a tank or a cruise missile or something like that, or the machine guns, the M16s, and the highly trained military of the United States. But you know what? It's a big illusion. It makes them feel better. It makes them feel like maybe they have a fighting chance. They can run off into the mountains and form their militia, which is what it's all about, and make a stand and maybe die fighting, as opposed to getting marched into the ovens, which is what happened because that's the first thing that Adolf did. This is what the gun nuts say. This is what they tout Germany and Cuba, because Hitler, the first thing that he did was disarm the civilians, disarm the general populace, and so did Castro. Did the same thing, is disarm the civilians so that they couldn't fight back. Obviously, well, I can't say that's not going to happen here because Hitler wanted free elections. So I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm not psychic, but nevertheless, that's what these people are afraid of. These people are afraid of a government overstepping its bounds, and they want to be able to defend themselves against the government. However ridiculous that sounds, that's what's going on, and you can't reason with fear. And yes, statistically, a gun in your household is more likely to harm you and a member of your family than an intruder. This is a statistical fact. That is correct, but nevertheless, you can't reason with fear. These people are afraid of being home invaded, and they're just as afraid of being home invaded by the police and the government as they are by a criminal. And that's why they have their guns. It makes them feel better. And you can't tell them to feel differently. And they're never going to feel differently. And you're pissing into the wind if you think you're going to, by talking to these people, make them feel okay about the government and not fear the government anymore. They fear the government and they fear the criminals because they don't feel that the government is protecting them. And it's not. You can't argue that. Anyway, let's try a call just to see if it's working. Fort Myers, hello.
Hi, George. How you doing, man?
All right.
Hey, I agree with you on the guns thing, man. Hey, I'm a gun owner, too.
Yeah?
And I know there's got to be restrictions, but there's also got to be freedom. It's got to be a balance.
I really think that both sides need to sit down and talk reasonably and rationally about this, but obviously they can't do it. The Tom and Rosie thing is a perfect example. They can't have a discussion without getting hysterical, these people.
Because these
both
people
sides
don't have open minds.
Right.
They're all closed.
Right.
I need a new thought. Hey, I got to ask you one question, man.
Go for it.
That Guitar Man song, is that available on a commercial CD?
You know what? Not on a commercial CD, but it is on one of our Unplugged or
really?
Something like that. If you call Center 1, and I'll put you on hold, Robert has the number. There's a stack of cards right there. There's a Center 1 number. The most recent Unplugged, or whatever it was that we did, Neil's Nuggets, Neil's Bits, I don't remember. It's on one of those, uncut.
Yeah, because I wrote that song. I wrote the lyrics of that song.
Oh, you wrote that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, excellent job.
I was producer for the Joe Show here in Fort Myers for a while, and I wrote that song. Yeah, I'm talking to Guitar Man about that.
Well, it's right on.
You liked it?
It's great. It was
okay,
great.
Man. Have a good one.
You too. Miami, hello. This is going to be the little faggot.
George.
Yes?
What's up, my friend?
Nothing. Okay, I was wrong.
Well, first of all, the word you were looking for, Howard, was leech.
A leech. He's a media leech.
There you go.
He has no substance of his own. He only has the ability to find a crowd of cameras and jump in front of them and whirl around like a dervish, and look at me.
I have 3 points to give you. First of all, Rosie was jumping on Tom because of his endorsement. She endorsed
because of the ad.
Thank you.
She endorsed him. Howard had a valid point. You know what? And he brought it up on his show.
And buy the same 22 rifle that the kid in Georgia used.
Right.
And walk right out with it.
Right.
So
that was a valid point. Howard had a valid point. Nobody's saying that he didn't, but nevertheless, in his wildest dreams, he knew that Rosie wasn't going to let him on the show.
Thank you. Second of all, the other part she said about an assault weapon that fires 5 rounds a second, I said, excuse me, that's a fully automatic, and that is illegal.
That is a fully automatic, and that is illegal. That is correct. There are lots of guns. There are lots of guns that hold lots of ammo.
Thank you.
That don't fall under the category of assault weapons. That fire as frequently as you pull the trigger. Blah blah blah. It's just
I said, why don't you go for these nuts that are publishing these books on how to convert semi-automatics into fully automatic?
And that's the stuff that's going on the gun shows, and that's one of the areas where the NRA is a little bit too extreme, is they don't want to regulate what's going on at these gun shows.
You know why?
Why?
Because the ACLU will jump in.
The ACLU is not going to defend anything that the NRA is doing.
No.
You're talking about the books.
The books. Saying and they cover the First Amendment. The Internet and how to make bombs are covered by the First Amendment, and they'll jump in.
Well, I don't know about the Internet. Anyway, we're late for a break, sir. Thank you very much. The Internet is global, so it's not about the First Amendment. The reason we can't regulate the Internet is just because we can't, because it's a global thing. And any websites that are based over here in the United States that they try to control over here will just go overseas or get a link overseas or something like that so that they can't trace it to where it is or something like that. That has nothing to do with the First Amendment. And we're not going to get rid of the knowledge. We're not going to get rid of the knowledge about how to convert the guns, et cetera, and so on. So, anyway, like I said, we're late for the break. 10:30 on 560 WQAM.
Only one South Florida radio station has the hammer, and you're listening to it. Hey, Goldberg, weekday afternoon, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
How dare you!
I don't have to grow up. I'm a Guns N' Roses kid, so I can always kill myself for something bad I did. It's gonna be cool when I kill everyone at school, 'cause my dad said it's okay. I'll exercise my right, like by the NRA, that lets me be a Guns N' Roses kid.
He's a Guns N' Roses kid. I taught him how to shoot. Look, he really loves the sight of blood. Now ain't that kinda cute? I'm a homicidal Nazi redneck with a site on the internet. I'm a lifetime member of the NRA. That's why I raised a Guns N' Roses kid. Here, son.
Oh boy, a clip for my gun.
I'm glad that you're a Guns N' Roses kid.
25 to 11, 560 WQAM. So if you missed the previous George shows about my real mediocre indifference towards guns, I used to have guns. I sold them. I needed the money. At some point, probably, I will rearm the household. At some point. I don't know why. We're in a neighborhood that's kind of but that's not why. Why am I going to rearm the household with the safety locks and everything like that and all of the proper precautions, of course? Because of the one and only reason. If someone should with me, bottom line, I am armed and dangerous. I will become armed and dangerous just on the off chance that somebody should flip me some I'll blow their crap away. Or at least I'll convey the message to whoever might think about flipping me some that I have the ability to blow their crap away. And that's why people have guns. All right? Yes, it's an artificial penis. Yes, it makes you feel macho. It does a great job. And then there is, of course, the home invasion and yada, yada, yada. But a lot of us like that feeling. Like that feeling of that knowledge, that security, especially if you're a little wimpy guy like me. Well, I mean, what other recourse do little wimpy guys have except to grab a piece of steel and go nuts with it? If you knew, Robert is a very nice mamby-pamby kind of guy, but let's say somebody pissed you off, or let's say that you got the thought in your head to go and bother someone and mess with someone, you would approach them differently if you knew that they were armed and dangerous. Definitely. And that's what it's all about. That's why people enjoy having guns in their house. And they put the signs up that says guns. And, and when I do rearm, I'm going to, wear all the gun shirts. That I'm a gunslinging fool. Don't piss me off. That's why they enjoy having their guns. But the people who love the guns don't want any restrictions at all. And the bill that was passed, I don't know if you saw I'll give you the slugs thing here real quick. The bill that was just passed in the Senate, make it easier for prosecutors to charge juveniles as young as 14 with violent crimes. I don't know what that has to do with the guns per se. These are like, they stick these things on there, the riders, because that should happen anyway. That should be irrelevant to guns, whether they use a butcher knife or a gun. Put those 14-year-olds in jail. Require background checks on all firearm transactions at gun shows and pawn shops. And that's a good idea. I'm sorry, all my gun friends. That's a good idea. See, the people that don't understand the gun-loving mentality, it's the erosion of gun rights that the gun huggers are afraid of. They're afraid that the government is going to nickel and dime their gun rights to death. They're going to take baby steps and little by little, step by step, erode your ability to have a gun and work that way out of there. I love you too, Donnie B. Talking baseball with Donnie B. Is that going on today? Yes, it is. 6 to 6:30, right before the Pittsburgh Pirates face the Florida Marlins. But that's what they're afraid of. That's what they insist, because here's a group of people. They're afraid of the government, okay? They fear the government, and they believe that the government is heading for this new world order, this global government, and part of the agenda of this global new world order boogeyman is to disarm the people so that we will not be able to resist the new world order when it finally takes over, when the government surrenders power to this big new world order thing. And they see this as part of that agenda, setting us up for the big fall by disarming the populace. And they see all of these gun control laws, however small and however logical they appear on the surface, they see them as an attempt to take their guns away. That's what's going on inside their heads. The thought that you can go to a convention and walk out with a grocery bag full of guns is kind of kooky. Not because of the gun, but because of the people that are walking out with the guns. Because I don't have a problem with people having guns as long as they're very responsible people, or at least, let's give you the benefit of the doubt, as long as you haven't committed any crimes and you're not a mental patient. That is the American freaking way.
That's the American fucking way.
You should be able to have something, because you can have a car. That's incredibly dangerous. More people are killed by cars. And yet we have the cars, but we regulate it. We make you take a driving test, and give you a driver's license. They don't want that. And you know why they don't want that? They don't want all the guns to be licensed. Big Brother. Big Brother is going to know your address and your serial number. Big Brother is going to know who has guns, so they're going to know which houses to come to confiscate the guns. That's why they have a problem with the background checks. That's why they have a problem with a 5-day waiting period and filling out an application, because they want to have their guns anonymously. This is the mentality that we're dealing with. Sorry, Robertson there shaking his head. He can't believe it. He can't relate to this kind of thing. But nevertheless, those are the people that we're dealing with.
I just have to say, I have no problem with people having guns, just as long as there's proper precautions.
You're talking again.
Care of.
Hollywood, hello. Hello, Hollywood. See there, they hung up. They heard you talking. You scared them off. I warned you. Mobile and Kendall, hello.
George.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only thing where I draw
agree
the
with
line
what?
is with what you're saying, people should be allowed to own firearms if it's possible. The only thing where I draw the line is permits.
With a what?
The concealed weapons permit.
The concealed weapons permits.
It's too easy. Some off in a car. It's too easy for you to get pissed off and start firing.
Okay.
Not you.
You're breaking up. I'd love to talk further, but you're breaking up. The concealed weapons permits. Well, there you go. He doesn't like that because it's too easy, but whatever. As if we got this whole road rage thing. What's more dangerous than 2 tons of steel? You're in the road. Somebody pisses you off. I don't need 10 pounds of steel to kill that person. I've got 2 tons of steel to kill that person. I've got an SUV. I'll ram them right into the guardrail. I'll drive them off a cliff. It's like, it's just, guns are incredibly dangerous, but we have this long list of things in our environment, in our society, that are really, really dangerous. We have drugs, we have cars, we have, don't break the Freon tube behind your refrigerator and smell it. Don't stick a nail inside of an outlet. We have all of these very, very dangerous things, and of course they all deserve to be regulated, but we can't eliminate them because they're out there. And as far as the guns go, they're part of American culture. Yahoo! You're not going to get rid of them. You're not going to get that genie back into the bottle. What a futile conversation that is. But hey, it could kill 4 hours. Let's see if we can. 18 till 11 on 560 WQAM.
This is 560 QAM.
Tonight on Channel 10 Eyewitness News. They say close only counts in horseshoes. But when you're talking about close calls and near collisions in the sky and on the ground at Miami International Airport, close calls call for a closer look. Tonight, Channel 10's Brad Berkey uncovers documents submitted to the Fed, and you won't believe what this investigation found at your airport. Pilots and crew members speak out. Too close for comfort. Tonight at 6 and 11 on Eyewitness News.
Okay, a triangle with 2 equal sides.
What is isosceles?
Great. Do it surprised.
What is isosceles?
Sad.
What is isosceles?
And now happy.
What is isosceles?
All the big stars are rehearsing for Celebrity Week on Jeopardy.
What say thee, pray tell, dost that be? Isosceles?
Oh, you threw in Shakespeare. That's nice.
Catch Hollywood Walk of Famers Graham Nash, Dr. Quinn's Jane Seymour, and director Gary Marshall on the next Celebrity Jeopardy.
Tonight at 7:30 on the one and only Channel 10.
This is Rick Stevens with 60 Seconds for Hialeah Park. This week, the story of a closing and an opening. Saturday, Hialeah ends its live racing season with a mystery cash giveaway to commemorate the start of a new season, a simulcast season, as Hialeah opens its fabulous year-round simulcast center, Sunday, May 23rd. There's still time to enjoy Hialeah's superb racing, and Saturday win a mystery gift voucher worth $2 to $1,000 and between. It's Hialeah's invitation to visit its comfortable simulcast center, opening Sunday and all year long to wager on Calder and other tracks across America. So for the 1999 season, this is Rick Stevens with a final tip. Come for Saturday's finale and receive a valuable wagering voucher with your paid admission. And beginning Sunday, visit Hialeah's comfortable simulcast center to wager on Calder and other tracks. Oh yeah, Hialeah Park all year long.
Who keeps coming up with these incredible deals at Eddie Accardi Chrysler Plymouth Jeep? On the line is the man who should know, the general sales manager of Eddie Accardi. You there, Steve?
Hi, Karen.
Steve, let's get right to it. Who's the mastermind behind these incredible deals at Eddie Accardi?
That's me.
Really?
Yeah, but don't tell Eddie.
Why not?
Could get real ugly.
Why would Mr. Accardi be angry?
Well, listen to this. Pay just $9.99 down and only $2.99 a month for your choice of a new Jeep Grand Cherokee or Chrysler Sebring convertible JXI. And they're loaded.
$9.99 down and $2.99 a month?
Yep, it's a 36-month lease, just add tax, fees, and approved credit score.
Steve, you could be in deep trouble.
Not if I keep Eddie in the dark.
Why are you taking such a chance?
I'm out to break every sales record we have at Eddie Accardi.
Good luck. Quick, that offer again is?
A Grand Cherokee or Sebring JXI convertible, just $9.99 down and $2.99 a month.
Steve, you do know that we're on the radio and Eddie Accardi could hear this.
Radio. Uh-oh.
Get to Eddie Accardi Chrysler Plymouth Jeep on Federal Highway south of Atlantic, Pompano Beach, and get the deal that gets Steve fired.
What?
QAM drops the green flag with Motorsports Saturday. Saturday mornings at 6 with Joe Costello. Right here on Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Get down on your hands and knees and lick my boots.
Rocks for every I be rolling with a trunk load in my 81 Buick. Crack City, here I be gone. And if I have to bust a cap, I just say I didn't do it. Crack City, here I be gone. And when I get to Crack City, I go to the third world and ask around the club on who be buying my girl. I be going to Crack City to the floating nightclubs. Yeah, I be going to Crack City and be stabbing my blood. When I be going to Crack City and unload my junk, I never go to Crack City without packing my gun. Yeah, to rock for every time. Know that every now and then I sell some crack to a white dude. Crack City, here I be gone. Some was buck or in the intersection working for free food. Crack City, here I be gone. Well, I be cruising by the Purple House with no windows and be knocking on Moesha, she my favorite hoe. Yeah, me going to Crack City, and I'm going to sell my crack. I be going to Crack City, you can count on that. I be going to Crack City and blast my rap. I be going to Crack City, 'cause I be bad, yeah. To rock for every that's right. It's supposed to be a guitar here.
What are you talking about?
You mean you can't play no guitar?
Man, I don't want to play no guitar.
Fuck it.
What do you say? 12 to 11, 560 WQAM, 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. You could answer the phones, anytime now. I mean, you don't have to let them ring 10 or 20 times. You could pick them up right away. I'm going to do that to you. I need people to talk to. I'm not going to drone on all day like Howard, droning. You can call and talk about, how Rosie O'Donnell is a fat dyke and Tom Selleck is a wuss for not, mixing it up a little bit better. And how Howard is a media ambulance chaser. He's the media equivalent of an ambulance chaser. If a news van should drive past the studio, he has to get up and chase it like a dog, like the media whore that he is. And that's all he is. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line. Here's a mobile in Miami Beach. Hello.
Hey, George.
Hey, how are you?
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you great.
George, I just have to disagree with one thing you said. You said that, well, the gun owners, they use the rationale that the government is going to,
This is. I've heard that over and over and over.
I know, but
culture.
It's a BS rationale. It's a bullshot rationale, if I can say that.
I'm not saying that's my rationale. This is just what I've gotten at the dinner table at all these households almost.
No, I know, but see, the gun industry uses that rationale too. That if you don't have guns, we can't protect ourselves against the road.
Well, of course they do. They want you buying guns. The gun industry wants to make money like every other industry.
George, if everybody that had a mental problem or that had a jail record was not allowed to buy guns, that would cut the gun market in half or more. I mean, there's not that many normal people that want guns.
Well, that's
a
whole other issue. The people with mental problems and criminal records should not be among us to begin with, but certainly they should not be buying guns, and they should not be allowed to buy guns.
But don't you see, the gun people don't want to admit
that most
of their market are nuts.
That's absolutely correct, sir. That's who's going into these gun shows and buying up all these cheap guns without any kind of a background check or waiting period or anything like that. Of course, that's where the nuts go shopping because they can.
Okay.
And I said it was wrong. I said it's kooky.
Oh, okay. I you know what I hate? I hate is when groups use rationale that they know is BS, but they use it because it sounds like
they do know it's BS, but once again, they're coming from an emotional position, and that emotion is fear of the government, fear of the criminals, and you can't reason with a frightened person.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing is totally unrelated. I called Neil not too long ago and told him that I thought Punky Brewster had something to do with Dana Plato's death. He didn't think that was very funny.
Okay.
What did you think about that?
It's not very funny. I mean, not because I don't love Punky Brewster or anything like that. It was just that's a little bit weak. Sorry. I mean, I don't know. Robert thought it was funny. That'll make you feel better, sir. Robert Grieper, he's in stitches. He's red-faced. He's in stitches right now over that line. I thought it was stupid. 5670560, pound 560 on the mobile one line, and 9 till 11. I'm not taking a break. I just like to freak you out that way. I like to give the time out. It buys me time to look over here at the phone screen so that I can say, mobile in South Beach, hello.
Hey, George.
Hey, what?
How you doing?
All right.
Yeah, listen, I generally like Neil Rogers a lot better than Howard, but like most of your fans, I switch back and forth when you guys are on at the same time.
That's great. And there's nothing on in the morning. I don't blame you.
Yeah. I mean, the only part I actually enjoy about the Howard Stern show is when Stuttering John asks celebrities.
You know what? I like Stuttering John. Yeah. I will give it that, and I don't give Howard any credit for that because he's a talent of his own.
Exactly.
Stuttering John. He's funny.
I mean, that's the best part of the show, in my opinion. I mean, when he gets celebrities.
I agree with you. The only time that I've ever had a shred of amusement from the show is over the Stuttering John interviews.
Exactly, and also Howard Stern, the only thing I do like about him is that, in a way, he has a point that he doesn't ask the typical questions that Rosie O'Donnell or Jay Leno asks,
No,
like he does.
But still, it's just another ass-sucking fest, but just a little bit different, with a different slant on it. He asks a lot of sex questions. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Whatever.
Okay, have a great day.
Thank you very much. You too. Whatever. It's a big fat whatever. I mean, just another celebrity interview show. I mean, how many of them are we going to be forced with? And the people that call up here and compare the shows are so full of crap. This show sounds nothing like the Howard show. Neil, Howard doesn't take calls from the general public. Don't take my word for it. Call him up. Try to get on any talk show in the country the way that you can get on this show, just by telling them what city you're on. Hey, I want to talk to Howard. I'm in Miami. Well, yeah, good luck to you. Good freaking luck to you. This show is about the people we talk to. I mean, Neil is the pivot man and a citywide circle jerk. That's what makes the show great, besides all the funny bits and things like that. Howard doesn't talk to people. He talks to ringers. He talks to setup people and the celebrities, the celebrity ass-sucking interviews. And you better believe he sucks ass or they won't go on his show. A lot of people, oh no, they're bold. He's bold. Yeah, right. He's bold. I'll take your word for it that 100 years ago he used to be. And now he's just a droning fool. 7 till 11 on WQAM. Don't freak out, man. I'm taking some calls. Mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, George. How you doing?
All right.
Listen, two quick questions. One about the gun debate and one about the radio business, which I can't ask you because it's not here. Listen, let me ask you one thing. Yesterday I was confused about Neil's stance. Is he again...
Oh, he's not wishy-washy on this subject.
No. I know, but he was sending out mixed signals. which I could interpret. Let me ask you, because since you two are joined at the hip, from
that's right.
Okay, is he
We go
against?
everywhere together. We're inseparable.
Okay, listen. Is
Go ahead.
he against tax-paying, law-abiding citizens owning guns?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think at this point he has said this. He said this. He wouldn't have a problem with people having guns if they were responsible people. He has said that. But apparently he doesn't believe that the American people are a responsible people, and I'm not going to argue that point.
Well, I'm not going to argue either. That's beside the point. But so that's a yes, and he has no problems with tax-paying, law-abiding, responsible
Well, hey,
citizens.
you know what? I got an idea. Call up and ask him, because I'm not going to sit here and speak for the old man. He's very, very capable of doing that himself. Pompano, hello. Hello, Pompano.
Howard sucks.
Yes.
Star Wars blows.
Uh-huh.
And Ken from South Florida Fruit, you're a douchebag.
Okay, thank you very much. Short and sweet. I don't know about point number 3, but I'll take his word for it. Fort Lauderdale, hello.
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 Yes, I was just calling about the gun debate that you got going on your show here today.
Yes, sir. I didn't know it was a debate. Nobody's argued with anything yet.
No, not yet for you, but I guess if Neil was there, it would be an argument.
Probably.
I have guns, and I shoot them in competition only. I don't hunt or anything like that. And I've bought all my guns legally.
Right.
With the waiting periods that are required.
Sure.
I keep locks on my guns.
Right, as any responsible person should.
And I keep my guns in safes.
As any responsible person should, if they have the ability.
And the responsibility
lock cabinetry. What?
Responsibility is the point.
Responsibility is the point. Absolutely correct.
You know, this kid yesterday, he got the guns from his parents apparently.
Apparently.
And if they had the responsibility, then he would not have had access to those weapons. So I think the point is that parents, if they're going to have weapons, should take the responsibility to treat those weapons with the respect that they deserve.
No question. What do you think about the bill that they just passed?
I think the laws are pretty much in place, except for...
Well, they don't have the background checks. Do you think the gun shows that any crazy person should be able to walk into a gun show
No, sir,
and,
I do not.
load up?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay.
That
that's a very reasonable attitude. See, it's not the guns, but we don't want guns in the hands of crazy people. I don't think any sane person likes that idea.
Exactly. And I guess that basically what I'm doing is agreeing with you. And I kind of resent Neil's attitude that, you know, they shouldn't be there at all. Well, we can't
you've
get
got to
rid of them.
understand that you've got two kinds of people over here, and they're both very passionate groups. And boy, you know, to try to get them to find any middle ground is impossible.
It's going to be tough, but
but it's got to happen.
There are responsible people out here that do have guns. They're not buying them for home defense or any ridiculous idea like that.
Everyone I've ever known that had a gun was more or less a responsible person and had them very safely.
And as a matter of fact, back home where I'm from, I used to train children for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their parents would bring them in, and I would train them to respect the weapon.
And I think that's a good idea because curiosity killed the cat, and curiosity is going to kill your kid.
Exactly.
When it comes to guns, you hear that every other day here in the city. Some kid found a gun, didn't know what it was, wanted to experience it, and guess what? Got more than they bargained for.
And that happens a whole lot more than an emotional kid going into a school when he's been treated badly by his classmates.
Much, much more. You're correct, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No problem. 3 till 11, 560 WQAM. 11:03, 560 WQAM. I never finished this gun bill at a glance that they slugged here in the Sun Sentinel. Revoke the right of gun ownership to any... They wrote this wrong, but anyone convicted of a gun crime as a juvenile. Like, duh. I don't believe this whole juveniles are different kinds of people. Grind them all into hamburger. No distinction. If they're a dangerous creature, I don't care how old it is, grind it into hamburger or ship it off to one of those islands like Neil suggested yesterday. Very good idea. Separate the wheat from the chaff, because we don't do that in this country. That's why we have all these lunatics, all these maniacs, all these evil, crazy people running around with guns, with knives, with whatever, with their bare hands, with their teeth. I don't care what they're using as a weapon. Get them away from me. Get them locked up. Get them, ship them off to an island. March them into the sea in front of a big line of bulldozers. I don't care. I guarantee you, if you got rid of all of the crazy, dangerous, evil people, the gun incidences would be once every 10 years or something like that. Every 10 years, like it is in the nice out of the way places. But now we've got this rash. Now there's no nice out of the way places anymore. Now they're all going crazy. All these lunatics, all these lunatic kids. So obviously, yes, revoke the right of gun ownership for anyone convicted of a crime with or without a gun. Any crime. If you're an asshole, you don't get a gun. Only the nice, law-abiding people, will give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's work this out right now. Let's solve all the problems. We're going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're not a dangerous, crazy person, but as soon as you cross that line and commit a crime, you're a dangerous, crazy person. You don't get to own a gun, at the very least. If I had my way, you wouldn't get to own a piece of land, except that Alaskan island we're going to ship you to. We require gun safety devices to be sold with all guns. Whatever. That's like selling seatbelts with cars. The responsible people will use them. Those that don't give a crap will not. Whatever. Limit the liability of gun owners who use the gun lock when firearm is stolen and used in a crime. Okay, if that makes you feel better, whatever. Set up a grant program of $50 million a year for state juvenile court judges, juvenile prosecutors, juvenile public defenders, and other juvenile court system personnel to reduce the court backlogs and recidivism, whatever the hell that means. I'm a dumb, poor country boy, so I don't know what that means. But whatever. Yeah, more money to the juvenile thing. The juveniles are a big problem. And here's one that I liked. Provide for a study of the effects of television programming, movies, video games, internet contact, and music lyrics on child development. This is your knee-jerks speaking. Provide for a study of the marketing practices of the firearm industry with respect to children, like Joe Camel selling guns, that kind of a thing. You don't have to market the guns to children to make them want to have a gun. Every red-blooded male child wants to have a gun. Whether you want to get Freud in here and say that it's a phallic thing or whatever, guys like guns. Guys like toy guns, bang, 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 shoot 'em up, cowboys and Indians, etc. and so on. Little boys will play with guns, and when they get older, they're going to want to have a real gun, whether you market it to them or not. And then the last one on here on this slug thing, make internet screening software more cheaply available. As if. Here we go again. Let's blame society. Society's to blame for all of these bad things going on. All of these crazy people. Charles Manson didn't have the internet. There was before Marilyn Manson, there was Charles Manson, and he didn't have the internet, and he didn't play Doom. Torquemada, who tortured people, who was a priest, by the way, didn't have the internet, and he didn't play video games. He was a good priest. And he tortured people to death, thousands of them. As if there are bad people, there are good people, and like Neil said yesterday, there are people who can distinguish reality from fantasy, and the ones that can't, those are called crazy people, and they need to be shipped to that island right now. Right freaking now. Mobile and Del Rey, hello.
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 Hi.
Hi.
I want to tell you do a great job.
Thank you, sir.
And enjoy listening to you. Got a question. You confused me the other day. You made a statement.
I confuse me a lot.
Okay. You made a statement. You and Neil were talking about the elections in Israel, and you said something about the land the Israelis stole.
Yes, I like to make that joke a lot.
Oh, was that a joke?
Well, it's a half joke, but
Tell me, could you explain that?
I can explain it because there's two jokes there. There's the when they stole it in biblical days, which of course we can't blame them for that because there was a lot of that going on, conquering and reconquering and things like that. And then the second time was I'm talking about the occupied territories. I understand that the Palestinians pissed off the Israelis and just to show them what for, they went and occupied these territories and now they don't want to give them back.
Okay, so you don't look at it as a historical point like any other war.
I look at it this way. I see a family feud between two family groups that are related genetically and religiously to each other.
More so than any other people.
More so than any other people. Who have everything to gain from putting their weapons and their rocks down and embracing each other as the brothers that they are, but instead there's no feud like a family feud, and this is what I see going on there. And what's got to happen has to start with the Israelis, since they're the ones with the upper hand, since they're the ones that were the initial aggressors, and the whole Arab terrorism and the whole reason that the Arabs are pissed off at the United States and are blowing up airplanes and World Trade Centers is because the United States backs Israel's position. Not that I have a problem with Israel as a free state, and they deserve a wonderful country, and the Holocaust was a terrible thing, and you should please turn your radio off. But nevertheless, there won't be peace until the Israelis say, you know what?
All right, you're not all wrong.
I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around, but I think that the healing process needs to start with, on the Israeli side, they're the ones that need to extend the hand of friendship first, and then just everybody cut the crap, and there should be yarmulkes and shmatas hugging each other in the street.
Thank you. You explained it perfectly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right.
I mean, I think that's just a crying shame that the two sides of Abraham's family are killing each other and can't come to terms, and they should be praying side by side. They should be in Jerusalem having a good old time together. They're all circumcised. Come on. I mean, what do you got to argue about? Mobile in Miami, hello.
How you doing, Jordan?
All right.
Hey, about the gun control, man, it's just another great opportunity for the anti-gun people to just hide behind the children and say, what about the children?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
what about the children? The children should be taught to shoot.
You know, it's just a bunch of grandstanding, just like, Rosie O'Donnell. Listen,
they don't get it. I mean, I was going to say that I'm sick of these two groups of people, but I'm not. I'm very, very amused by all of the hysteria coming from both directions. I love to sit back and watch these people run around in circles, pissing into the wind about something they're not going to change.
Well, I think the initial hysteria, you're talking about the anti-gun people, and people are like kids, whether they're 12 or 45. You take something away from them, they want it
even more.
Absolutely.
It's the forbidden fruit thing. If you tell little Johnny, don't touch this, he's going to touch it the second your back is turned. Don't play with matches, he's going to grab the matches the second your back is turned.
And they're talking about, hey, we want to ban AK-47s. Well, AK-47s have been around for years.
I know that.
I know it's redundant, but it's just like really annoying to.
It's just a buzzword. It's a classification.
Yeah.
A shotgun is not an assault weapon, but but it'll blow your head off just as easily.
Absolutely, and you hear about what's happening now.
As a matter of fact, a shotgun is a gun that's used to hunt birds, little birdies, and I can't, nothing would make me run for cover faster than somebody swinging a shotgun around.
Well, I mean, have you heard now that I think Florida now it needs to let go of criminals because of a 1972 law that said life is 25 years, and 25 years for a lot of these criminals are up, and now they have to let a certain amount of criminals out of jail.
That makes me so insane. That makes me crazy.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's things like, where you teach somebody that shooting a school or whatever is wrong is punishing them. And
we don't do that in this country.
Of course not.
We don't punish bad people. Society's to blame. Video games are to blame. I'm late for the break, and Robert Grieper's to blame. 12 after 11 on 560 WQAM.
Wake up with the first team. Joe Rose, Jeff DeForest, and Steve Goldstein. Weekday mornings at 6. Only on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Well, that makes us feel like duty.
Well, stay in school. Don't go out on your own.
No.
Because there's a whole lot of stuff you just can't do at home. Search all around, but you won't see a CEO with a GED. When nothing compares to the marvelous feeling of making butter patties stick to the ceiling, smoking in the bathroom, making out in the hall, or hitting a fat kid with a speeding dodgeball. Yeah, I remember that. And throw a paper wad with a fire alarm, blow up the toilet with a cherry bomb, dissect a frog in biology class, find yourself a nerd and wedge his ass. Well, you'll be a hit in chemistry when you make the class a batch of LSD. Start a food fight, you milk out your nose. When you go to school, where anything goes. So stay in school, don't go out on your own. 'Cause there's a whole lot of stuff you just can't do at home. Search all around, but you won't see a CEO with a GED. Search all around, but you won't see a CEO with a D-E-D.
1118 560 WQAM. Real quick, thank you, Lynn, for sending me the Mysteries of the Bible Explained at Last. See all those shows that I did? Now I got a little booklet here. It's going to explain them all to me. It's kind of a funny thing, kind of a tongue-in-cheek, little $1.50 kind of a thing. But thank you. Thanks for thinking of me. And also, might as well whore the show for Joe Rizzoli a little bit more to pay for my free passes. No, Joe Rizzoli's a good guy. He sends us all these office supplies because that way we don't have to pursue other avenues for our office supplies here in the building. We're very content to take care of our own issues up here and in these studios. But the Expo Al Fresco is the thing that he's pimping right now. It's going to be on Harrison Street, downtown Hollywood, Wednesday, May 26th, 5:30 to 9:30, and you can call for tickets or for information about setting up booths. It's a big food tasting thing, a food tasting and networking extravaganza, which will be in downtown Hollywood. So call 954-923-4000, 954-923-4000 for information about booths or tickets. The tickets are $10 in advance, $15 at the event, and it's going to be a thing. And like I said yesterday, I like the way downtown Hollywood is shaping up. Not there yet. It's about two-thirds of the way there. But it's getting better. I like the circles. I didn't like them at first, but now they're kind of circles, something a little bit different, whatever. Expo Al Fresco, call that number, go to the thing. There you go, Joe Rizzoli. I could use some Parker pen refills. Just kidding. 1118 on QAM. Here's a Mobile in Doral. Hello, Mobile in Doral.
Yeah, George?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm just great.
Great topic. Just a couple of propositions want to run by you.
Okay.
And get some feedback. I got a really close friend of mine that actually grew up in Central Europe, and the way their laws are set up is that, number one, in order to get a gun, first of all, a gun can never be owned by a person that has any type of record concerning violence.
Okay.
That's point A. Point B is...
How about any kind of a record, period?
I'm sorry, any kind of what?
How about any kind of a record at all?
Yeah, okay, that would even be better. Okay?
Yeah.
But the other point B is, now they also, everyone that they're considering to owning a gun, they also have to be tested, a psychological testing, to see, basically what they're about, what their head's about.
Well, the gun people are not going to like that idea at all. Oh, it's going to be an arbitrary test, and who's going to pay for it, and yada yada.
Well,
I'm just saying, I'm going to argue with everybody. I'm just going to be the advocate for the other side, whatever position anybody has today.
Oh,
I'm just saying, go ahead.
There we go. So
I'm just saying, because this is how I was raised. These were the households, and this is the conversation that I kept hearing all my life. That's the kind of mentality that we're talking about.
Right.
But go ahead. You got points.
Okay, kind of a devil's advocate with that point B I made is that that's part of the problem with our country. We have so much freedom, but at the same time, the civil liberties movement, the ACLU advocates, sometimes they go a bit too far in defending people's rights from the standpoint
they got to get their priorities in order. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, a psychological evaluation could be administered that there would be a very clear. They're
going to have a problem like, well, who's going to make up this test?
Well,
what kind of factors are they looking for? Now, because they really have this whole Big Brother fear. You understand?
Yeah,
and this is gonna flame that so heavily. You understand?
I know.
Oh, they're gonna test your brain now? Oh my God!
I know. But let's face it. They could create a test where there would be a very clear demarcation.
They'll never pass that. That'll never fly.
And you know what? Until those type of things are in place, we're just pissing in the wind, basically. Because
we're doing that anyway.
In order to have
at
freedom.
Least until 2:00. Go ahead.
In order to have freedom, you have to take some rights at the same time. They don't come on their own. There has to be give and take. And in order to solve a problem, there has to, there are going to be certain rights, or at least people, that we think they're rights, that they're going to have to be questioned. Oh, and here's the point I wanted to make. In kind of going with the violence issue, number one, people that commit any kind of violence in society, whether it be just in a basic assault and battery or a homicide, or what have you, these individuals, I think basically our society should basically be set up where if you
they should go away.
They should go away. I mean,
far away forever.
If a man commits assault on a stranger or on his
whatever,
wife,
it's real simple. If you touch a person or their things, you can't be trusted. You go away.
That's it. And I think basically you give people two strikes. The first one is if it's a minor type of violence issue, then maybe there's room for reconsideration of letting it out.
First strike, you send them to anger management. See, I'm not even that forgiving.
Right.
There are people who know that it's wrong to put their hands on other people, and there are people that for some reason they feel that they have the right to physically assault, and whether it's rape or assault or murder, whatever. There are people that either don't have their temper under control or think that it's within their rights to touch other people. Whichever one that is, they need to go away.
Right.
As soon as they identify themselves as one of those kinds of people, they go away.
Right. Exactly.
Forever.
One last point, George.
Yes.
And that is the same people that are crying over these two incidents in Colorado and then in Georgia. I hate to say it, but these are the same people, the bitching and moaning. These are the same people that are not willing to give up some of their rights, aka kind of what I was addressing earlier about the psychological testing. These are some of the same people that would bitch and moan if you required people to do psychological testing, or you required very stringent laws concerning violence.
Okay, well, I think you got it backwards. I don't think those are the people that are bitching and moaning. You got it a little bit backwards there, sir. I think that the people that want guns controlled would be all for all of these restrictions. Sure, psychological test anybody that wants to buy a gun, because it's not going to be me. So you're not going to be testing me because I don't want to own a gun. So I think you got it reversed, and I didn't mean to hang up on you, but we got to go for the break thing anymore. I liken it to the whole gun issue reminds me of the drug issue, because here's another thing that people are very passionate about and can't reason it out and can't find any middle ground. The people that are anti-gun don't want other people to have guns because they're afraid of what they're going to do with those guns, basically. Same thing. The right-wing conservatives don't want me to have my drugs because they're afraid of what I'm going to do under the influence of my drugs. So here's an idea. Each group give the other group the benefit of the doubt. I trust that you are not going to hurt me with whatever device you have, in spite of the fact that I don't believe in the use of that device. And you can have it until you cross the line, until you do something aberrant with it, like drive under the influence and hurt somebody, or use the gun in a crime, and then you go away forever. And eventually we will separate the people who are responsible, who can use these things responsibly, from the people who can't, and on life goes. But we're never going to agree with that. We're never going to find any middle ground. We're never going to compromise, and life will go on, and we'll just keep doing radio shows and getting paid for it. 26 after 11 on 560 WQAM.
I love you guys.
Get me a cloth or towel, because I switched my underwear. I knew that this would happen sooner or later. I'd find a penny to do that, and I know my wife. Why are DVDs why? I thought wearing boxers was better, but my bald and hair kept sticking together. Ow! 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 Break out a box of Morano to take the stain of my underwear. I'll have to do a better job of wiping my asshole. For when I get confused down there, next time I'll know to wipe. That's why didn't seem right. I thought wearing something was better, but my balls and hair kept sticking together. Ow!
27 till 12, 560 WQAM, and there's absolutely nothing on the TV. They cut the exercise shows off early for, I don't know, some bicycle race or something on ESPN2. Tennis, oh, great. So I flip over to E, which is usually, like model TV or fashion television or something like that. Celebrity Cooking, hosted by Donna D'Errico. And if she was only wearing the apron, I might watch that. But, instead she's just cooking and they're interviewing people. And it's crap. And then you flip over to the networks and, like Roseanne. Speaking of people who shouldn't be on my TV, that squawking fat penguin Roseanne. Man-hating bitch that she is. Well, we hate you too, honey. How's that? All the plastic surgery in the world doesn't change the fact that you're a skanky hoe. Because she admitted to that. Having sex for money, that makes her a hoe. Yes?
You're talking about Donna D'Errico.
No, I was talking about Roseanne. I segued, and you were busy.
Okay, but Donna D'Errico, I actually saw her at a Motley Crue show.
Go ahead.
Unbelievable. She came out wearing nothing.
The phones are ringing.
I know.
You don't have to say anything about Donna. We all have eyes. You know, she's adequate. Answer the freaking phones. But this Grim Reaper, he's going to be the death of me. That's why they named him that. He's going to be the death of everybody. Oh, look at the time, and I just found something going through this DCS. 11:33. It's amazing what we brought over here from the old days. They used to have time jingles at the top of every hour, and that was our way of making. Yeah, it was. They were stupid. They were hysterical. It was more the Walt Sabo, Harry Valentine, broadcasting school concept, and they were crap. So we came up with those things, and I'm going to try to hit them, but just to bring them back. I'm like trying to shake out some old things that we haven't heard in a while on this thing. We've got over 3,000 cuts in this thing now, and so I'm like trying to find buried treasure, old lost buried treasure. Sunrise, hello.
George?
Yeah. Hi.
3 things for you. And first of all, actually, this isn't really one of my topics. I'm really enjoying your show. I think you do a really good job.
Oh, thank you. Moving along.
But I tell you something. Where did you get that screener? It's a shame you can't screen
Robert,
yourself.
that's what they foisted that on me. Joe Costello had. See, here's the story. With all due respect to Robert Grieper, who's not a virgin, at least that's what he says, and he's sticking to it. Joe Costello couldn't make it, my normal guy, in spite of the fact that he does shave his nuts, and he thought that Star Wars was a good movie. In spite of that, Joe is a pretty cool guy, so they give us Robert. And Robert, he's a good guy, but he's kind of a spaz. He's got a South Park shirt on, so he can't be all bad. But, he's kind of a spaz.
Why can't he be more like somebody other than Cartman? So.
Okay.
3 things. First of all, I'm Jewish, and I've been listening to what you've been saying about Israel and about land stolen from the Palestinians.
Right.
When I was in high school, I arranged a debate with one of my Jewish classmates.
Mm-hmm.
The topic was.
This is a very passionate issue that you're embarking upon here.
Let me finish, George.
Okay.
I think you'll be surprised where I'm going.
I'm not. I didn't assume that I knew where you were going. I'm just saying that you're going to open up a big old can of hostile worms. But go ahead.
The topic was resolved that Israel is occupying some of its territory illegally under international law. And I was taking the positive. So I went to the law library and did a little research.
Mm-hmm.
Actually unearthed a copy of the text of the Balfour Declaration, which was the early 1900s agreement that was brokered by England under which the partition of Palestine was arranged.
Right.
And also managed to find the 1948 UN partition agreement. And guess what?
Yes.
The fellow who I was supposed to be debating with the next day didn't show up.
Big
surprise. Suffice it to say that it's obvious to anybody who can read English or any of the UN treaty languages that Israel is occupying some of its territory illegally. That's all there is to it.
There is the nature of my joke.
Right,
now
I
keep taking.
Now, granted, there's some historical justification for that.
I understand justification. That's in quotes because obviously it depends on who you're talking to about whether or not it's justified.
Well, it's justified by historical circumstances and the fact that they got attacked. It's something that needs to be remedied.
But
otherwise, they're not.
Nevertheless, you don't automatically get to occupy and possess your neighbor's territory because they attack you. Not automatically.
Yeah, maybe 200 years ago you did.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because we now have this regime called international law.
Right. In this day and age, we're supposed to be beyond that whole concept.
Exactly. Second point, you said something earlier that I thought was really hilarious, and I wrote down with the intention of quoting. Neil Rogers is the pivot man in a citywide circle jerk.
Right.
I just wanted to get your last name so I can use that in a SIG email. I'm not kidding.
It's Rodriguez, a nice Irish boy.
Thanks, George.
Sure.
I'm actually dating a Julia.
Oh, okay. Well,
Jewish, actually, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, she's a Julia?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand what that means. She fakes having sex or what?
Not at all, actually.
Because I never got anywhere with the Julias. I'm just curious to know if the Julias are any more forthcoming.
She's very forthcoming.
Oh, okay, excellent, great.
No complaints.
I'm writing that down.
Third of all, I also wanted to ask you what you meant. I think you raise an interesting issue when you talk about psychological testing for people to own guns.
Oh, the caller raised it, not me.
Well, you said that crazy people shouldn't own guns. You didn't say it in so many words.
Crazy people shouldn't be around.
What do you mean by crazy?
I mean whatever. I mean crazy people wig me out. I mean just whatever because it's an inexact science.
What about mood disorders? What about people who are on medication?
I have an uncle that's a psychologist and everything like that, and he'll argue this point with me. But nevertheless, psychology and psychiatry is not an exact science, with the exception of the whole CAT scan thing and the chemical thing. When you're crazy, you're a wild card, and this is my opinion, all right? When you're crazy, you're capable of anything. You do things that don't make sense to normal people. Therefore, you should be corralled and inside of a control environment where you can't do whatever it is that you do. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. But as you say, it's not an exact science.
It's not an exact science. So it's like, oh, well, we thought he was a manic depressive. Turns out he was a homicidal maniac. You know, I just have this crazy. You can call it a crazy fear. Maybe it's rational, maybe it's not. But crazy people with psychological problems, really freak my shit. Okay.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. May I tell a really short, relevant joke?
Go ahead. Oh, the joke? No, see, famous last words. We don't do jokes on this or any other quality talk show. But thank you very much for a very scintillating and ass-sucking call. The crazy thing, I was in, and this is embarrassing. Here's an embarrassing thing because I was a Boy Scout. I learned all the first aid things. I was in Civil Air Patrol. I have all this, CPR training and whatnot that I've already forgotten, by the way. And I'm at the Walgreens over here buying soda and Slim Jims, which I do very regularly. And this guy, he was a well-dressed guy. He was very neat, well-groomed, clean guy. I heard him behind me. He was stumbling and kind of reaching out for something to grab onto. And I thought it was a crazy person and he was coming to get me. That's the reaction that I had, and I kind of scooted down the aisle. I kind of just did a little skip to the loo and scooted down the aisle, and he called after me. He's like, hey, buddy, help. And I turned around, and I'm like, I don't know if I should. And I see the manager's heading over there, so I'm like, all right. So I head over there, and he was having a diabetic seizure, and we had to help him to the ground, and I held his head and put my leg under his head because he was thrashing, and so that he wouldn't bash his head on the floor. And they got him a candy bar, and he was all better. But I'm sorry, sir, that my response was not immediate, and that's why, is because in the big bad city. And just because you're a well-dressed person doesn't mean that you're not dangerous. It was a white guy. It wasn't like it was a black. Do you know what I'm saying? Prejudice wasn't behind it, except for, of course, prejudice of crazy people. Because crazy people really wig me out. They freak my shit, and I'm sorry about that. Because they're a wild card. They're capable of anything. Guess that's the definition of crazy, is that their brain doesn't work the way that ours does. They don't do things according to the same rules of reality that the rest of us do things with. So no, they shouldn't have guns, and as far as I'm concerned, they should be inside of a controlled environment, maybe a nice place, a nice location with a big tall fence around it, doubled up with barbed wire. Or something like that. It's just, I'm sorry, call it irrational, if you will. Call me crazy. 19 till 12 on 560 WQAM.
Here's the cuts for Saturday, November 29th, 1997. Good night.
Just sit right back and we'll smoke a joint, take a big bong hit or two. Ever since he was on Dobie, somehow you always knew that he was a great big smoking man. His hits were strong and true. Without a lot of ganja, he would know what to do. He would know what to do. The times they started getting rough, his tiny buzz was tossed. If not for the courage of the old mailman, his package would be lost. His package would be lost. And then the police came knocking just as Gilligan began to smile. And down Gilligan, a bag of weed, a little cocaine and a pipe, a water bomb, enough to put him in jail, all on Gilligan's file.
WQAM 560 WQAM, that is to say. What's the number? Oh, I was going to give the phone numbers out. See, I'm a little distracted by Don Wells on this cooking show. That's why I played that Gilligan's Island pot bit, because Don Wells still looks really, really good. We were talking about Barbara Eden because she was hosting some dance thing, and we were watching them do the rumba. And Barbara Eden, she obviously sleeps in formaldehyde. She's pickled because she's not aging at all. I mean, I know she's probably got 500 lifts or something like that. And Don Wells also, and here's the age-old argument, of course, who is hotter, Ginger or Marianne? Well, I always liked Marianne. Marianne was always actually showing more flesh. She had bare midriff things going on, always wearing shorts, and she had that tan, Don Wells, and she's still looking tanned and good. I'd do her right now. If this cooking show is current, she's still looking very good. She's cooking, Marianne is. So you go, Don. 13 till 12 on QAM, 5670560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Miami Beach, hello. Miami Beach. Goodbye. You didn't turn my pot off, did you, Robert? You're all pissed at me because I'm playing that drop. And by the way, he said that the reason the last guy ripped him is because Robert didn't want to hear his life story. So I'm just getting Robert's thing out there. What are you doing? You're second around for food, Joe? Is that what you're looking for? Okay. Sunrise, hello.
Yeah, you think that guy was trying to grab your ass at the supermarket?
He was trying to grab my ass?
The one you jumped aside.
Uh-huh. Mobile in Coral Springs, hello.
I'll tell you who else is in the pickling solution. Bo Derek. She looks pretty good.
Yeah, but, she
Raquel
wasn't on
looks
Gilligan's
good.
Island. I like Raquel, but she's got an ugly navel.
Oh,
Have
really?
you ever seen her belly button?
Not
not
close enough.
It's kind of a big and open, I'll put my hand over it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it's kind of like one of those big, nasty, crater-looking belly buttons. Well, she had kids.
Anyway, George, you're absolutely right about Israel, and I've been doing some checking up.
Wow, what a joke in passing. Go ahead.
Since we violated the Treaty of 1851, really the United States should give back all the territory west of the Mississippi back to the Indians, because we don't really have it.
Oh, and don't forget, the Mexicans. They didn't start that war.
So I think, Israel should give all the land back to the Arabs.
Well, it's not going to be resolved.
The Arabs should give it back to the British, and the British should give it back to the Turks, and the Turks should
Let's
give
all
it
go back to where we came from. How's that?
Well, geez, I don't know where that was, man.
We're going to have to chop you up and send you to 5 different places
you bet.
If you're a typical American.
Okay, well, I guess I'll see you somewhere.
All right, take it easy. We'll see you. Catch you on the flip-flop. Back in Europe somewhere. 12 till 12 on QAM. Mobile in... Oh, I got to get used to Robert's abbreviation system. Mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello,
George. All right, Robert. You're doing fine. You're fine. Go ahead, sir.
George.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm a native Israeli. I've been living here for a few years. I love your show.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry?
I said thank you, sir.
I love your show, and I'm a loyal listener, but today you really, really, really get me angry. Who the hell are you people, to decide what's good and what's bad for Israel? I mean,
why won't you... What's bad for Israel. I'm talking about what's good or what's bad for the rest of the world, because you pissed off your Arab brothers, and now they're blowing everybody up because you pissed them off.
Why won't you mind your own freaking problems here?
Because they're blowing people up over here.
Who blowing people up?
Huh? The Arabs are, because you people pissed them off.
That's not true. You Americans piss them off because you support Israel. That's
right. That's right.
Yeah. Well,
we're
anyway.
guilty by association, so maybe America should stop supporting Israel.
I love America. It's a great place.
I told the guy, man, he was going to open up a big passionate can of worms. Go back and fight in the desert, sir, just like Neil said. Fighting over a scrap of desert. You people should be hugging each other. And by the way, I love the Jewish people. I have deep-seething Jewish envy. If it weren't for that whole circumcision thing, I would convert, except that it's a religious ritual. Seriously, in show business, talk about wanting to get an inside track. And that's not a Marlon Brando thing. I say it with the deepest of envy. If it weren't for the Jewish control of the entertainment industry, how would you explain people like John Cryer? For example, Pauly Shore. How would you explain the presence of all these mediocre people? They're related to somebody. That's the only reason they're up there, because talent has very little to do with success in show business, or I should say success. That has a lot to do with it. How would you explain Joan Rivers and her daughter? Speaking of E, because when I think of Howard, I think of E, and when I think of E, I think of Joan. And you know what? I put all these drops in here, like because so that I can communicate. But you notice I didn't put the C word in there. I didn't bleep myself saying the C word because that's not a word that I typically use. It's a very strong word, and I save it for only the harshest of circumstances. I save it. But Melissa Rivers and your very ugly, talentless daughter, you are a couple of C's. See you in Tijuana. I'll play that bit a little bit later on. But anyway, so I have nothing but envy for the Jewish people. I wish that I could join up without getting circumcised, but they won't let me. I mean, isn't that sad? They have to draw blood. And every time I say, hey, I want to be Jewish, they say, well, we've got to circumcise you. And I say, don't cut! Don't cut! Because I'm very attached to my foreskin. But nevertheless, and by the way, just to make it very perfectly clear, I think that the Jewish people deserve the Ethnic Achievement of Human History Award. No other group has taken so many hits and has come out on top. Talk about going from the lowest depths of almost being wiped out to the highest heights. So if there was a master race, I would give that title to the Jewish people, hands down. Forget the Nazis. I mean, you know, the Nazis didn't have 6 million of their numbers, you know, wiped out and then come back and wind up in all of these positions of power that they have all over the world. So I admire the Jewish people as far as a kick-ass race of people. But what's going on over there in Israel is wrong. And you people, the Israelis, you're the ones that have to start the friendship ball rolling. That good Yitzhak Rabin, he gave it a shot, he tried, and one of his own people wiped him out because they're full of hate. And there's no feud like a family feud. And I didn't want, I joke in passing, like it's ever going to happen, like anything's ever going to be resolved over there. It's an oxymoron, Middle East peace. It's never going to happen. But if it is going to happen in whatever fantasy scenario you want to create, it has to start with the Israelis. Who are you? Who are you? Whatever. Go back, fight in the desert, go throw some rocks, go plant some bombs, or have some rocks and bombs thrown at you, because that's all that's going on over there, and it's going to continue for years and years and years until they drop their weapons and start hugging in the streets. And the first person to drop their weapon needs to be an Israeli. Miami Lakes, hello. Hello, Miami Lakes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yesterday, somebody called, and the end of their message was "Go Charismatic." Have you figured it out yet?
Well, I think they said "Go Charismatics." That's why it was a mystery, because the horse is charismatic, and that's
what she was referring to.
But she said charismatics.
No, well.
So whatever. We're splitting hairs, and thank you very much. And we said it on the air. Life goes on. Hallandale, hello. Hello, Hallandale.
George.
Yes.
How you doing?
Great.
Okay, about that gentleman who had the diabetic seizure.
Yes.
Okay, was he anyway balding and have glasses?
No.
No?
No, he's a relatively young guy, like mid to late 30s, well-groomed. There was absolutely no reason why I should have been afraid of this man, except I thought he was a kook.
Right, because I had an assistant manager who had a diabetic problem.
Yeah.
And he got transferred to a store on Ives Darien, I think 199th.
Well, no, this guy didn't have any glasses, and well, that's that Walgreens. But
yeah.
I just feel bad because instead of being super Boy Scout, like my training, I ran away. I mean, I didn't run far. I just put some distance between us, you know?
Right.
And I feel bad about that. I should have been right there for the guy. I should have caught him. Thank goodness he didn't fall.
Right.
My response was less than immediate, and I feel a little guilty about that. But that just goes to show you.
All right. Your show kicks ass.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. I told everybody I feel like crap. I feel like crap because instead of whirling around and saying, I got you, buddy, let's just walk over here. He was making sounds. He was making, I've never seen anyone having a diabetic seizure before. So, and how was I to know? And he wasn't real communicative. Do you know what I'm saying? So anyway, well, just God forgive me. How's that? That's all I can say. And the diabetic guy too. Plantation, hello. Click. Nice talking to you too. 5670560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. We have Bijou Phillips today would be our musical guest if the calls all drop off, if we run out of crazy Israelis to talk to. Mobile in North Miami Beach, hello.
George.
Yes.
Hey, how are you doing?
All right.
I agree with you that both Jews and Arabs should kind of sit together and come up with a solution.
What a sci-fi scenario that is.
Yeah, but the only problem maybe you can understand is that a lot of these Israeli families lost daughters and sons in the war to Golan Heights, and that sort of is a slap in the face in a way that they died for nothing.
But that, you got to understand, and this it all goes back to World War II and the refugee thing, which was a horrible human tragedy. I mean, talk about adding insult to injury. What happened to the refugees? That left Germany. They shouldn't have had to leave Germany. They should have given Germany to the Jews and loaded all the Germans up onto ships and sent them off to fight the Arabs in the desert or something like that. So it's this horrible, tragic chain of events. And I understand. I read the things. I watched documentaries on the whole chain of events that led up to this, and I understand that people died, and it was they attacked us first, and we retaliated, and this and that. You don't just automatically get to hop up people's lands because they attacked you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not in the 20th century. We're not allowed to do that anymore because Kuwait doesn't own Iran or Iraq. Sorry. Do you know what I'm saying? Because Iraq attacked Kuwait, the world doesn't say, okay, you get to own Iraq now.
You're correct.
Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way, and I understand that the people died, and you know what? Palestinians died, and Palestinians died initially, and they started dying first because when the refugees showed up, here was a very bitter and angry group of people, and rightly so, the refugees that got off those boats. and they had to fight the British resistance to them creating a homeland, and they had to fight the Arab resistance to them creating a homeland, and it was a very, very bitter and harsh struggle. I understand, a lot of passion, a lot of this, a lot of that, but we're talking about the same ethnic group here. We're talking about brothers that came from the same region, that have common ancestry, that share all of this culture. They shouldn't be fighting.
But who's going to determine who's right or wrong?
You know what? Instead of a Palestinian state and an Israeli state, why don't they say, hey, you know what? We're family. Why don't we just all live together and have a state?
Because I think the Israelis kind of way fear them because there's
no question. There's no question. I saw the thing on 60 Minutes. I don't know if it was
but so Palestinians that they have to be kind of defensive. You understand?
But you understand? Don't you think that if the Palestinians didn't see the Israelis as enemies, but rather as family, that the Israelis wouldn't have to fear the Palestinians anymore?
Yeah, but if you've ever been in Israel, like I went there once abroad to study, and I was actually on the Golan Heights. Mm-hmm. It's just when you're on that land and you see like the bunkers, and you see the teacher just explains to you what happened and how many soldiers died on both sides. Mm-hmm. It's just it hits home, and you're kind of like, maybe I shouldn't give up this land. They fought for it, they won it kind of fair and square, and maybe
fair and square with U.S. help, of course.
Yeah. All right, George, good talking to you.
Okay, absolutely. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs, and nothing's going to happen. I mean, but thank you for helping me kill another 10 minutes between all of these calls. This is great, even though it has nothing to do with it, except, once again, the Arabs are pissed off at the United States because we took a side in this issue and helped Israel. And so, therefore, we get our planes and our buildings blown up, and, we have to fear the Arabs now. And if the Arabs knew anything about public relations, if they had half a clue, like the Israelis do, they wouldn't be blowing up buildings. They would be, whining or something. They'd be doing the how to win friends and influence people, but they don't know about that. And neither do the Cubans, for that matter. The Cubans also need to take a clue. 2 till 12 on 560 QAM.
In the tradition of the disaster musical comes Andrew Lloyd Webber's Jews in the Attic, the Anne Frank Diaries. You'll leave the theater humming those catchy tunes like No More Beans, I'm writing all this down, Don't Flush Till the Nazis Go Home, I'd turn in my parents for a stick of deodorant. It's Jews in the Attic, the Anne Frank Diaries. CD available now.
1203 on 560 WQAM. Since I already pissed off the Israelis, I might as well piss off the Krauts, too, while I'm at it. I'm sincere about that. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it's too late for the Germans to make reparations about World War II, because they only made token reparations. All those corporations that stole all that money from the very rich Jews, by the way, at the time, that they stole everything from. They took, they kicked them out of their house. They moved into the houses. They took all their bank accounts. They seized all their assets. All of these companies used the slave labor. We saw Schindler's List. That was just one example of one guy who went in to exploit the people the way that many others were doing so, and he turned his act around. But he was the only one, because all of the other people, like the Volkswagen Corporation, by the way, are they sponsors? Too bad. They got in there and were using the slave labor and taking the children away from the families, and the children, they didn't make it. Too weak to live. That was their big excuse. So Germany has not even made a smidgen, to use the Beverly Hillbillies measure, a tenth of the preparation age of the reparations that they should have. And it's not too late. I say load them up now and send them to the desert and let all of Israel move into Germany. Go pick you out a nice house. You deserve it. That's what should have happened.
Well, how about the Swiss too? I mean,
and the Swiss too. They weren't innocent, but at least they never stuffed anybody personally into an oven.
Yeah, but they still have all the money that
they do have all the money. So there's a lot of blame to go around. So it was just a big wrong chain of events that led up to this horrible situation down there. And once again, I know that the Palestinians supported the Nazis. How? With kind words, with glowing letters of praise. You know what? So did the Pope at the time. And and nobody talks about that. They weren't involved in the war, so they didn't deserve to have a whole bunch of angry people descend upon them and displace them from their homes. Even if they were bad people, they didn't deserve that. Even if you personally hate them, as Jewish people, as Israelis, even if you think that the Arabs are a bad, horrible, nasty bunch of people and you want them all to croak, nevertheless, They didn't deserve to have a whole bunch of angry refugees displace them, and that's why they got pissed off in the first place, and that's why they attacked, and to try to reclaim some of what they thought was their land, because guess what? They were there first. And on and on and on it goes, and it's not going to stop until, and this is of course a pipe dream, and I'm, quite frankly, I don't give a crap unless when I, get on an airplane, I have to wonder, I have to look around and see if, there are any bombs planted, like I'm going to see that. But nevertheless, it has to start with the Israelis. They're the ones that have to say, you know what, we need to work something out. Like that very, very kind Yitzhak Rabin was on the verge of doing before one of his own people blew him away because he was filled with hate. And by the way, just to take another little shtick at the religionists, he said God told him to do it. Just like Joshua said that God told him to conquer the promised land in the first place and kill all those people. God told me to do it. Yahweh. Mobile in Pompano, hello.
Hello?
Hello.
I haven't heard your whole show, so...
I just started off talking about Rosie and Tom Selleck, and then we got into...
Well, no, I'm just saying that what I'm calling about is what you're talking about in Israel, and maybe you covered this before. That's why I say...
No, I haven't. I've avoided it before because it's a very hostile issue.
Well, sure, it is a hostile issue, but I'm trying to say this is the nicest way because I don't want to be confrontational, but I don't think
say
you
it
have
however you want, sir.
I don't think you have all your facts right. Number one,
by all means, enlighten us.
All right, the land that the Israelis have was theirs thousands of years ago.
They genocided people and took it thousands of years ago, and then they took it by force. They lost it by force. So it was the other people's by the same token as it was theirs. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, but I'm talking about when they were taken as slaves into Egypt.
Right.
That was their land.
They weren't taken as slaves into Egypt. They moved into Egypt because things were going good there.
They were not volunteers to Egypt.
Yes, they were. According to the Bible, because Joseph was doing good things in Egypt, he invited his family to come over, and they said, "All right, that sounds good."
Well,
according to the
not
scripture.
The whole group.
According to the scripture.
But that is
what it is, exactly, yes.
No, but what I want to say is why you've said, I've been listening for only the last 20, 25 minutes, and you've said a few times it's up to the Israelis to make the first move.
I believe so.
Why do you, every Arab country couldn't be worse in their relations with Israel. They keep saying they want to blow them up, they want to drive them into the sea.
Why is that? When you encounter an angry person, don't you ever ask yourself why that person is angry? Why do they want to do that? Are they bad people and they just hate the Jews and the Israelis? Is that it?
They claim I'm sure it's the land thing, but
of course
none of them will ever get together. None of them ever invite the Palestinians to live in their country. These are fellow Arabs, remember.
Right.
They are not welcome in other Arab countries.
So you're saying the Palestinians are bad people?
No, well, not all of them.
Not all of them. Okay, that's good to know.
No, but wait a minute. The thing that you're missing when you mention how the U.S. aid and all this to Israel, the reason why is Israel is their only friend in the Middle East.
Right. That's why. Why do you?
Israel gives them all their intelligence.
That's why. I mean, the Israelis know a good thing when they got it. One hand washes the other.
But when they had a big nuclear reactor factory in Iraq about 10 years ago,
and the Israelis bombed it, and rightly so.
They blew it up.
Sure.
They blew it out of the desert.
Way to go, boys. Good job.
Oh! What, did you expect them to set themselves up to get destroyed? I mean,
no, of course not. They did the right thing. I never criticized their blowing up that nuclear reactor. I think that was a good idea. I'm talking about their occupation of these occupied territories and the fact that the Palestinians are very pissed off and they're taking their hostility out on the world and the United States in particular.
Well, do you think you could trust a man like Yasser Arafat, who's supposedly
you know what? I've
moderate?
never spoken to the man. I don't think so. I know he needs a shower. He looks like he needs a shower and a shave, so he doesn't look really trustworthy on the surface of it. But I know.
Are you old enough to remember the Olympics where they? Because I don't know your age.
Sir, I understand that the Arab, the whole terrorism thing is bad and horrible and nasty, and it's got to stop. But I have to ask myself, why are these people pissed off? Why are these people angry? Hello?
Your original premise is that it's their land, And my premise is it's not.
What's your solution, sir? Kill the Palestinians?
Well, I didn't say they should kill them, but they have to arm themselves to George, they have to arm themselves.
I'm asking you for your plan for the Middle East.
My plan is for them to protect themselves at all. The Israelis must protect themselves at all
and the
costs.
fate of the Palestinians
and they
should
can't give any land back.
And the fate of the Palestinians should be?
The Palestinians have to take care of themselves. It's not up for us, the Israelis, to take care of them. They have to take care of themselves. There's a million
on what patch of land, sir?
They could live in Saudi Arabia. They could live in Kuwait.
Ship them on out. Ship them on out. Herd them up, load them onto buses, ship them on out. Okay, great plan. Problem solved. Can we go back to talking about how Rosie O'Donnell is a fat dyke and Tom Selleck is a mamby-pamby wuss? 11 after 12 on 560 WQAM.
The uncut wonder boy of the airwaves, George. God.
That son of a bitch! What kind of sick weirdo is he?
Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got the feeling that something ain't right. Put on a yarmulke and don't take it off. If you see your rabbi, say mazel tov. Schmucks to the left of me, putzes to the right. Here I am, stuck in a temple with you. Well, I'm stuck in a temple with you, and I'm wondering what it is I should do. I don't want to pray at the Wailing Wall, and I know that I don't like my cabal. Schmucks to the left of me, putzes to the right. Here I am, stuck in a temple with you. Well, you're in your daddy's business, but you claim that you're a self-made man. Then your Uncle Si comes over, asks you for a bagel and cheese.
12:18 on 560 WQAM. Never been invited to one. Do I have to get cut to go to one of those? Bar mitzvah, that is?
No, goyim are allowed.
What is it?
Gentiles are allowed.
We're not allowed.
No, you are allowed.
Do I have to wear a thingy?
Yes, you do.
Because I wore a yarmulke at my Jewish friend. My fat friend who died was also Jewish. So I wore a yarmulke because, I didn't want to offend anyone, even though I felt really dorky.
Well, it all depends if you're Reformed, Conservative, or Orthodox.
Oh, I see. Well, I just wanted to be, polite. I mean, the family hated us anyway, and it was mutual, trust me, because his mother killed him. And I'll keep saying that over and over again. So maybe some Palestinian. I mean, we know we have Jewish people in South Florida, and the more the merrier as far as I'm concerned, but maybe we have a Palestinian who would like to call up and rant and rave about how his people were displaced by a bunch of angry refugees who had every reason to be angry, but not at them. That's an age-old, thousands of years old grudge, and I say it's about time to stop it already. Cut the crap. I mean, how many thousands of years was it before, since Sarah put Hagar and Ishmael, out to pasture, sent them out into the desert? And once again, for those of you who are religious about this subject, the angel of the Lord came down and blessed them. He didn't come down and curse them. He didn't come down and say, ha ha, look at you, you got kicked out. He told Hagar and Ishmael that they were blessed. And he comforted them and said that you will be a great nation, etc. and so on. Because they were also children of Abraham, because Ishmael was a child of Abraham, and the same promise that Yahweh gave to Abraham, also he extended to Ishmael. So therefore, if they're good enough for Yahweh, the Arabs, why not you? Mobile in Miami Lakes, hello. Hello? Mobile in Miami Lakes. I hear something, but not enough. Let's try mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello. Hello. Now I think Robert did shut the pot off. No, and click. Boy, I must have just alienated everybody. This is really good. Mobile in Fort Lauderdale again. Different one.
George.
Yes.
Hey, this thing with Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes.
I just
I just got in the car. What was your take on it?
I say that, well, first of all, forget the mamby-pamby stuff. I don't know what everyone has all been out of shape about, because this is like, what, the second day that we're talking about this thing, that it's all over the news. It was the lead story on E! Entertainment News just now at noon. So, number one, this is exactly what the public wants to see on TV, is a whole bunch of fighting and nastiness. I say that she's a fat dyke that's all emotional for no good goddamn reason. And Tom Selleck was wussy, and he should have given it to her right there.
Well, you know what? The thing was, it was like an ambush. She
I
had
understand
not,
that.
and that was dead ass wrong. If you would have come on, whoa there, big guy. Oh man, I almost got smushed.
Take your time, work it through.
I think that thing that Stern brought up was very valid.
That was very valid, but of course he's crazy if he thinks that she's going to let him on the show. I mean,
no. Forget
nothing but a whole publicity whoring stunt.
Forget that. But I just think if Selleck had time to think about it, he would have said, "Hey, are you a representative?"
You do ads for Kmart and they sell guns, you fat dyke. So who the hell are you? That's what
just like said. That. You're a like she was saying, you're a representative of the NRA. Well, she's a representative. I mean, she's paid by Kmart. I mean, they probably sell more rifles in this country than any dealer. I would say.
That was brought up.
For sporting goods.
For sporting goods, whatever. They'll kill you just as dead.
It's just I think she should think before she talks. I think anyone should check your own house before you look at somebody else.
Okay.
Okay. My girlfriend, she is crazy over this thing. She thinks I'm out of line. How can you talk about Rosie? How could you talk about Rosie? Rosie,
for crying out loud.
Pumpkin head lesbian dyke bitch. I go, listen, and let me tell you something. And I say that with all respect, right? No, I like Rosie. I like how she is. I do.
I don't like mamby-pamby crap on my TV. I just,
Well, let me tell you something.
This is the most exciting thing. Forget the most exciting thing. The only exciting thing to happen on her show since it came on the air.
I know. It's a suck fest usually. She brings on all. You notice how most of them are girls and there's lots of sucking going on.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Normally we like those kinds of shows. Thank you very much, sir. We have to move along. We actually have some calls on here. Don't ask me why. Mobile and Davey, hello.
George.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, okay. This is bizarre. Southern Belle is making me pay. It's Neil that rips you guys, all right? Not me. Don't take it out on me. Fort Lauderdale, hello.
George.
Yes.
I think your show really, really blows.
Okay, thank you very much. Go find a wife. Today's practice day. Mobile in North Miami Beach, hello.
Hey, Todd Gregg lives.
Okay. Todd Gregg has this whole gay fan club. They're on the voicemail. Stop ripping Todd Gregg. Talk about the whole, Neil always talks about Fran Drescher as the reason for anti-Semitism. Todd Gregg, right there. Talk about, it's like people are running around saying, no, he's a Palestinian because they don't want to take credit for it. All the Jewish people here in the building don't want to take credit for the fact that he's one of theirs. So anyway, so we have no more calls. How perfect, because we have the Bijou thing. This is the hit. I don't know, hit. Where have I heard this before? They playing this on the radio?
Saw her on Leno.
Was she on Leno? This is Polite.
Get away with it, even my heart, in my head, holding tight, just to get away with it. It don't matter what we figure, it don't matter what we try. I'd even lay my life down just to cross that line. It don't matter what I say to you, it don't matter if I cry. The silence of the evening, the sweetest to return, even my life could survive.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to play for that. You're talking, Robert. Because I've heard that before and I don't know where. Is it on the radio? That must be the single. Because there's a song on here that's kind of rocky. I'll play that. And there's actually a couple other ones that are not bad either. Bijou Phillips, I'd Rather Eat Glass is the disc. Thank you again, Tracy Neely, because every once in a while we do get something good from her. And I also got this cool 70s CD. That's what I was playing, whatchamacallit, the Guess Who off of yesterday. Good stuff on here. Steelers Wheel is on here and Three Dog Night Blues. Swede, with Hooked on a Feeling. So we got lots of music if we don't get any calls today. 567-0560 and pound 560 on the mobile one line. I shouldn't say today because we've had plenty of calls except until right now. But that happens, and I'm not going to worry about it. Oakland Park, hello.
George.
Yes.
Play the tapes.
Yeah. Go find a life, asshole. Seriously, we're gonna have a campaign. Like in 3+ years, when Neil retires, we're gonna do this right on the air. We're gonna find out where these people are gonna be having the suicide. We're gonna have a mass suicide for them. Build a big bonfire, lots of lighter fluid, and we're gonna have a weenie roast with your carcasses, because you guys can't stand it. And thank you for appreciating the hard work that I put into those tapes. Unfortunately, nobody else shares your opinion. Mobile in Hollywood, hello.
Hey, George.
Hey, what?
I want to talk about this Rosie O'Donnell thing.
Yes, sir.
I think that woman is a big, fat pig.
Yes.
Okay? And I think Tom Selleck should have really ripped
I think
it
so
to her.
too. He was way too nice, and again, the public, we don't want to see nice. We want him to take out take out a gun and blow her brains out.
Yeah,
That's what we want to see over and over again.
I think he should really rip it to her. Because let's face it, people are talking about guns, right?
Right.
Guns are bad, but let's face it, it's the people who fire the gun.
Right.
Not blaming
You're not
this
gonna get rid of the
person
gun.
and that. You're not going to get rid of it, okay? Number two, here we have this president who's always talking, and he can't lead by example because he's a liar and a crook anyway.
Uh-huh.
So what do you, and that's why
Was he a crook?
I can't stand
He lies a
liberals.
lot, but is he a crook?
I can't stand liberals, okay?
Okay, well, then go away, because we don't talk to very hysterically partisan people. Well, I mean, we do, but I like to pretend that we don't. Mobile in Fort Lauderdale, hello. Hello, Mobile in Fort Lauderdale.
Good afternoon, George. How you doing?
Good afternoon.
I wanted to run something by you. In the past 5.5, 6 weeks since the Columbine shootout and all that, I haven't thrown an opinion anywhere. I've just kind of been taking everybody's in.
What's the gun situation in Australia?
Well, it's different in Australia. People look at things a lot different. Even after the shooting 4 years ago in Perth, I don't know if you recall that,
Yes,
where
I do.
the gunman went in there.
Yes, I do.
People act different. People are different towards
Are
each
you allowed
other.
to have guns in Australia? I know it's kind of a wild atmosphere.
Yeah, people do have guns, but most people don't choose them anyway. The proliferation of guns is not something that's in the forefront of
Ain't a
people's
big
minds.
issue.
Yeah, it's kind of funny in this country. There are so many guns. It's the highest per capita, yet the crime rate's higher than anywhere. So that hasn't really. The thing I called to talk about was, it's just funny because people are like Nielsen ratings. They quote one way or the other. Either it's not the gun, it's the person, or there's too many guns and we need to lock them up. When I was just sitting there thinking that people kind of deserve what they get. In Colorado, clearly it was the kids who were raised by their parents. How do you control that? How do you legislate how parents control their children?
You can't legislate it. You've got to learn from the mistake, and that's all the people with kids have to look at this and see that you need to be involved in your kid's life. And obviously these people were, but well, I mean they took this explosive device out and detonated it for them because it was dangerous. I mean, how can you be a parent and let your kids run around sawing shotguns off and building bombs in the garage,
or
just shrug?
Or storing 500 pounds of black powder in a house and say, I had no idea what they were up to.
Exactly.
I mean, I just don't think you can legislate something like that. And this idea of a safety lock, I mean, face it, George, if you have the mind that you're going to store bombs in a school for a month straight, saw off shotguns, kill all your students, and die in a hail of bullets, do you really think a gun lock is going to stop that mindset?
A gun lock isn't going to stop that mindset. But you know what? Whatever, the gun lock. See, some people will use them, some people won't. So it's just one of those things. Please, by all means, all you people, go use your gun locks.
I mean, personally, I think guns are a joke, and most people that have them, I kind of laugh
I'm
at.
indifferent, basically.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't have one. I don't like them. But at the same time, I just think that, you know what the truth is in 5 weeks, if nothing more happens, everybody will forget about this. The Rosie O'Donnell.
They're talking about Rosie and Tom.
What's that mean
that
to
was
anybody?
The story on the news, exactly. So we'll jump on it. What the hell?
Anyway,
thanks
I
very
enjoy
much.
your show. Thanks, George.
All right, you bet. Yeah, that's because I always wondered about the Australia thing, because they're kind of, I mean, talk about wide open spaces where the people can do whatever the hell they want, you know, the outback. But nevertheless, yeah, the gun thing, if they take everybody's guns away, whatever, I won't care. And if they rescind all the laws and make it so that you can walk around like the Wild West with a sidearm, then I'll wear a sidearm. I'll go either way on that. It's not that big a deal, one way or another. 29 after 12 on 560 WQAM.
560 WQAM.
that it? Or is it going to come back on? I forget. I only played it like twice. I guess that's it. It just has one of those forever fade-out things. So, no, thank you, Robert. I did not know that this was China Phillips' sister, the Wilson Phillips. And by the way, Carney is a big fat cow. Let's add her to the big fat cow list. So, no, she's got her sister beat all to hell, as far as I'm concerned, because there's at least 4 decent tracks on this disc, including that one I just played right there, which is the rockiest one on the disc, and the best one as far as I'm concerned. 23 till 1, but Bijou Phillips, that's who we're talking about. And yes, Tracy Neely will give you a tape so that you can continue to send us all these wonderful free CDs. And sorry that Neil wasn't here to receive his BS Boys. I'm sure that's what's in this package. We got some mail, but I'm not opening his mail in spite of what he thinks, although I will steam it open. Mobile in Hollywood, hello. Hello, Mobile in Hollywood. And goodbye, Mobile in Hollywood. This is great. Plantation.
Hey, just wanted to talk about the comments made by the man earlier in regard to the Palestinian situation. The man's a total idiot. If you go back in time, biblically, when Moses led the children of Israel to the Promised Land,
right,
there was no for rent sign up there. There were people living there.
There were people living there.
They had to throw their ass out.
They didn't throw them out. They killed them all. They killed every man, woman, and child.
Right.
They lined them up and cut their heads off.
Right, so that's what pissed these people off to begin with.
And that started the family feud, and then once again, and then they were defeated militarily. They were dispersed throughout the world, and they came back very pissed off, and rightly so. But they were pissed off at the wrong people.
Right, now for this man to say that the Israelis have any more or any less right to have land and or their own country than the Palestinians do is it's ridiculous.
It is
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Palestinians need to have a homeland.
They were there first.
And unless and until the Israeli people acknowledge this, there will never be peace.
There will never be peace, and we'll continue to have our airplanes blown up.
And in regard to the situation that the Australian gentleman was talking about here with this country with guns and everything, the worst violence that exists within an individual's mind.
Yeah.
And it is in shaping that mind that parents have the ultimate control over the result of what will happen to this country.
Well, I have
The problem that we have is that we have too many people who aren't capable of taking care of a pair of goldfish having 3 or 4 children.
Amen. You for president, sir.
What we need to do is to institute a system in our schools of parenting classes, because children are having children.
Yeah.
And they need to be taught better ways how to take care of the children that they're going to have.
Stop having children.
Well, that's true, but people aren't going to stop having sex.
No, they're not going to stop having sex, but that brings the whole family planning issue in there. We can't talk about family planning in this country without a certain group of people, crapping their pants, and freaking out about abortion.
Right. These born-again
It's been
morons
proven, especially in the third world or in these countries where the women have no rights, in Africa and even in the Middle East, so to speak. It has been proven time and again that when the women are given the option of using birth control or not using birth control, that they will use it, because most women don't want to have more than 2 or 3 children max.
Or have them when they
want them when they're teenagers, right?
Exactly. And the people that think that the best thing that they can do is to keep this information out of the hands of the people who need it are the biggest idiots in the world.
Knowledge is power. Ignorance is whatever it is. It's bliss.
And it kills me. It kills me that, look, I'm not one that is in favor of abortion, but it kills me that these people. Exactly. These people would rather have you bring a child into the world that is not wanted, that is going to be raised badly and be a burden to society, than give you the right to choose whether you want to have.
These children are a danger to society.
Right, and they would rather that child be born and be a danger to society than give you the option of choosing for yourself whether you want to bring that child into the world or not.
You're correct.
And these people have no right to tell anybody else how to handle their own lives, because they're patently incapable of handling their own.
Amen. Hey, you're for president.
No, that's okay. I don't need that much grief.
Anyway, thank you very much, sir. You made way too much sense for this kind of show. 19 till 1 on 560 WQAM.
You can kiss my rear end.
Yo, I'm a nigger, you're a nigger, he's a nigger, she's a nigger, we're all nigger boos. I'm a nigger, you're a nigger, he's a nigger, she's a nigger, we're all nigger boos. That's a word for greeting friends like all black people do. But whiteys want to say it too so they can sound real cool. I'm a nigger, you're a nigger, he's a nigger, she's a nigger, we're all nigger boos. Now the bigots have to find another word to use. It used to be real bad, but now it seems okay when African Americans address themselves that way. I'm a nigger, you're a nigger, he's a nigger, she's a nigger, we're all nigger boos. No longer the vernacular for racial abuse. It used to be taboo, a nasty thing to say, but now it's bandied all about by black folks every day.
Yo.
I'm a nigger, you're a nigger, he's a nigger, she's a nigger, we're all nigger boos. I'm a nigger, you're a nigger, he's a nigger, she's a nigger, we're all nigger boos. Six and Watts and Nicks and Kikes, you're all included too. It really doesn't matter now, 'cause everyone is now a spook.
Yo. Check it out. I be Grandmaster Spook. I be swishing my thing, playing with my record.
I thought this one was a little long. But you know, it's his art. A man in his art. I didn't want to compromise it. I could have faded it out way earlier.
Put the lotion in the basket.
But it kills more time this way. 13 till 1, 560 WQAM. Well, I might as well piss everybody off. I mean, I did the Krauts. I got all my Jewish friends are all hysterical about me, those of them who care about Israel. Oh, that includes none? No one that I know that's over here really gives a crap about Israel, like Neil. That's why he doesn't talk about the thing. You know, it's like lots of these people fight over the desert, and good luck to whoever wins. Coconut Creek, hello.
Hey, how's it going, George?
It's going great.
Good show today, dude.
Thank you.
I want to make a comment about the Middle East. I firmly believe that there will never be peace in the Middle East.
Probably not. That's the most likely scenario as I see it also.
Well, guess what happens when you have peace in the Middle East? All these terrorists are going to be out of a job. They have.
You know, I don't really think that there's a whole lot of them, quite frankly. I think that it's a small group of very hysterical and well-funded people.
Well, you've got the
what would they do?
Funded by Iran, and you've got all kinds of movements all over the world that are funded usually by governments. And if there's peace, there's no more government funding for terrorism.
Well, they'll have to find another job. They'll have to go to South America and get involved.
They have to come over here and drive cabs.
Yeah, there you go.
Or run 7-Eleven. I'm also a proud father of 2 little boys, and I firmly believe also that discipline begins in the home.
Yeah.
You cannot give that responsibility to the school.
No, you can't.
You cannot look to especially the school system in Florida. You cannot look to the school system in Florida to raise
right.
your
And like we discussed
kids.
before, they've tied the hands of the people at the school, which quite frankly, I mean, I guess I have a little bit of a double standard when it comes to girls and boys, because I have a little girl. And I just don't like the idea of her getting paddled. I don't like the idea of anyone putting their hands on my little girl. But I'm thinking, if I had a boy,
he deserves it?
If I had a boy, he'd probably need to be whacked every other day.
Well, I wasn't a
that's how boys
student.
are.
I wasn't a particularly stellar student, and I got paddled every now and again. And believe me, it's not fun. But I'll tell you what, it's sure a good deterrent.
Oh yeah. But no, I mean, you don't have to do the paddling thing, but give them the recourse where they can kick them out of school, or those kids will go to a reform school, a special school, the boot camp school, whatever. Get them out of there. And people were talking about the private schools here yesterday. What can they do? They can kick the kids out. That's what they can do. That's why all the kids in the private school are on the straight and narrow, because if you screw up, you're out of there. And the public school, they can't do that.
Not only do they kick the kids out, but you don't get your tuition back either.
Right.
Period.
So, yeah, you
gone.
can't believe the parents are throttling those kids if they get a note sent home.
Absolutely.
And because they don't want them to go to public school either. So, yeah, that's a good deterrent. If you don't straighten up and fly right, you're going to be going to the bad school, where things won't be pleasant.
Tell me something, George. How old is your daughter?
She's 10.
10?
She'll be 11 in August.
11. You're probably past the age where did you or do you administer corporal punishment at home?
I've had to swat her on the butt a grand total of 3 times in her life, and that was all before the age of 5.
Yeah, well, good for you. You must have a heck of a nice, heck of a good.
Well,
good
because the
daughter.
whole thing is, and you'll probably back me up on this if you're a parent, the whole thing is whether it's a child or a dog or anything, it's consistency. Basically, when I swatted her on the butt, it was because she looked at me and defied my authority, and that was something that couldn't happen. And every other time you say something to the child, if the child doesn't do it, the first time you say it, you have to get up and walk over to the child and get in the child's face. That doesn't mean hit the child, but you have to go over to where the child is and get in their face and say, look, I told you to do this. I'm serious. You will do this. You will comply. You will comply right now. You will not argue. And you have to do that every single time. And that's what most people can't do.
Absolutely. Not only that, you also have to define your role as a parent. You got to make them understand, look, you're the parent.
You're the parent. You're the child.
And they're the kid. And they do what you say without question.
Right.
You can be their buddy. You can be their buddy. You can be their pal. And you can be their best friend and confidant and all that. But
and
you're
I'm all
still
those
their
things.
parent.
Right. I'm the one in charge. I tell her, look, I had to wait my turn. It's my turn now. And you will do what I say. And if you want an explanation, I'll give you an explanation afterwards. After
Absolutely.
you comply, then I will explain my logic to you if you request it politely. But you will not sit here and argue with me about something that I just told you to do.
Absolutely. And that's actually a hot button in my household. My wife does not believe in corporal punishment. I believe in justified, very metered, carefully metered corporal punishment.
Yes. There are
you don't just go, you don't just go swat the kid just for the hell of it. But,
no, you can't, I never hit her out of anger or anything like that. There were times I told her to do something that she said no. You know, as a little kid, like 3, 4 years old, no, and I had to convince her very quickly that no is the wrong answer to any question that I ask her. You know, the only right answer is yes, sir, and that was like unacceptable. That bad things had to follow her saying no to me.
My friends call me the Great Santini. I've got a 3-year-old. I've got a 3-year-old little boy, and he already knows how to say yes, sir. He's at the stage right now where he likes to defy everything you say.
Right, and they'll do that. They'll test you. They'll try you. They'll see where the line is. You just show them that the line is right at the tips of their toes. That's how much slack they have. None.
But he knows all I have to do is look at him and say, excuse me, and he says, yes, sir.
Exactly. That's the same thing over here. All I do is look at her, and that straightens the act up. And if it doesn't, on the rare occasion that it doesn't, you have to put the remote down, get up off the couch, walk over to the kid.
And a little touch on the
parenting is work, and that's why people fail, is because they don't want to do the work. They don't want to put the time in to be a parent.
Exactly, and they think if they're a disciplinarian that they can't be their kids' friends. That couldn't be thought.
That is so untrue. We do everything together. We have great times. We have great fun. It took her to see Star Wars. She thought little Anakin sucked also, by the way. And we have great, wonderful times as long as she doesn't confuse the roles, that she's the child and I'm the parent. Thank you very much, sir.
Definition of the roles is important. Talk to you later, George. Good show.
Thank you. I mean, it's real simple. You can be your child's best friend. I'm my child's best friend, but there can be no confusion on that one point. I'm the boss. I'm the boss. If for no other reason, I'm the one that pays for everything. If for no other reason, then I'm the adult present, and that I waited my turn. I always tell her, you could have had the deal like I had, where, you had to say what your parents told you to do, and your parents were worthless sacks of crap, and that you didn't get anything positive from them, both verbally or materially. So you could have had that deal. But anyway, now I'm tangenting off. Can we get back to Rosie's a big fat pig, and so is Roseanne, and what's her name, Carney Wilson? Let's make a big fat cow list here today. 6 till 1 on WQ, and don't freak out. I'm taking calls. Mobile in Miami Beach. Hello.
Yeah, hi, George.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. 2 things. One about Israel. There will be peace, but you have to end religion first.
Oh, woo! There'll
be world peace. There'll be world peace.
Right.
Number 2.
Exactly, and that's a very good point, because here are people that are the same ethnicity, but they disagree on the religious thing.
And number 2, about Israel, if tomorrow, if the Indians came to the Americans and said, we want Florida, and
we have a little bit of a time difference. We're talking the difference between, about hundreds of years and, just yesterday.
Okay.
Or today. It's still going on today. The occupation continues. But see, I have issues with the Indians too. I'm very sensitive to the fact that we wiped out the Indians and took all their lands, which is why I think that they ought to be able to do whatever the hell they want on what little land they have left.
All right, I guess that's the difference of opinion. Basically,
yeah,
what happened in 48? Yeah, Israel came in, took the land, And the Arabs told the Palestinians to sit on the side for a day. We'll kill them all, and then you can come back. Well, they've been waiting for 50 years.
Right. Well,
And
it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. They should just put the guns down, have a party in the street, play music.
Let them go to any 30 other of their states. We only have one.
Oh, you only have one, so move them out, even though they were there first. Okay, that seems to be the general consensus. These people were there first, but we needed the land, and the Nazis pissed us off, so therefore we have the right to displace them and cause them to, move them out of their houses, bowl their houses down with tanks, load them onto buses, and ship them off to the other Arab states just because they happen to be the same religion as those other people, even though they were in the land first. Okay, whatever. I could give a flying crap. Just stop blowing up our airplanes, please. 4 till 1 on 560 WQAM.
WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Hello, I'm Sal.
And I'm Harry.
Here to tell you about our special place.
Just a short little drive from New York is the Poconos.
Let's go.
That's where I wanna go to get away from it all.
Where was that?
In the Poconos. Eat gefilte fish.
Love that stuff.
Play shuffleboard if you wish.
I got a 9.
Go for Saturday brunch. Or pile the food on top of your dish.
I hope it's kosher.
In the Poconos, Skytop and Buck Hill, Camelback and Bush Hill, Mount Ellie and Shawnee.
There's even Mickey Rooney.
I know.
Split Rock and Cresco. Oh, let's go poking in the Poconos. We'll have some lunch and then we'll see our show. Tony, Orlando, in the Poconos. Get a hot shake tub.
Newport of champagne.
Sit by the pool and act like a schlub.
Let's get the chicks.
You can meet a nice girl over by the exercise club.
Hey, Judy, over here.
In the Poconos, Skytop and Buck Hill, Camelback and Bush Hill, Mount Ellie and Shawnee.
Don't forget Mickey Rooney.
No. Split Rock and Cresco. Oh, let's go poking in the Poconos. We'll have some lunch and then we'll see our show with Tony Orlando. In the Poconos.
Let's go. Did you forget your teeth?
I know. I got my teeth in a little bag with the water in there, but
102 560 WQAM. The whole, and I didn't want to talk about this. I wanted to talk about Fat Rosie. But nevertheless, because of that comment in passing that I made the other day, and Neil, the guy brought up the Indian thing, which is Neil's comedic comeback for the whole, they're going to give the land back to the Palestinians when we give Manhattan back to the Indians. Well, none of those Indians, the Indians that were gypped by Peter Stuyvesant of New Amsterdam, are around anymore. But there are people, and I've heard them in interviews, that will sit there and tell you how they were forcibly displaced from their homes, which they and their families owned for years. And Robert, you're Jewish, so you're rolling your eyes. And here's the bottom line is, you feel that because the Nazis put your people in the ovens, you have the right to take over another people's land. What?
I'm not like that. I don't feel that way.
Well, but that's what happened.
Exactly.
The Palestinians didn't soak the ovens with anybody. That's an old family feud that went on for years, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop right now. And the Israelis have the upper hand. And I don't care if you think you deserve that land or not. I mean, I don't give a crap. It's a piece of scrubby desert. But the bottom line remains is that there are people that will tell you right to your face how they were displaced from their homes, the homes that and their property that were in their families for hundreds of years, and they're still alive and they want to go back home. Okay, I'm not making this. I thought it was common knowledge, but apparently we're not supposed to talk about these things because there isn't a Palestinian presence here in the United States. There's a Jewish presence, and I love the Jewish presence, and I love my Jewish friends, but nevertheless, you can't say these things apparently without people getting all hysterical about it. And I wouldn't have an issue with it at all if it weren't for the fact that the very pissed off Palestinian Arab terrorists are blowing everybody up. Everybody who says that they have a Jewish friend or that they ever met somebody who is Jewish gets blown up by these crazy bastards because of the deep seething hatred that they have for each other. And I say cut the crap. The Israelis should go over there into the Palestinian occupied territories and say, here, this is your land, and by the way, here's a nice vat of brisket. Sorry, we were really, really pissed off. We had this family feud thing going on. We've hated you for years. We've hated each other for years. The Nazis did this horrible thing. We needed a place to go. Nobody would let us move in anywhere, so we decided to come back here, where we lived for about 500 years is all. On a global scale, that's nothing. and we wanted to be back here, and I'm sorry, we had a bit of a tood. Sorry. And then and have a big party. And you won't have to fear the Arabs or the Palestinians if you made friends. I really believe that. I think that they should all get together. I mean, come on. But no, the hatred just runs way too deep for either group to say, yeah, I think we could work this out. It's a pipe dream. And I didn't want to talk about that. I wanted to talk about how Rosie is a big fat cow. And this was the best thing that ever happened to her show. And Tom Selleck should have shot her in the face. And that would have been the best thing that ever happened to her show, and television for that matter. Hollywood, hello. Hello, Hollywood. Click. Nice talking to you, too. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello. This is the first time I ever called a talk show, but something you and your listeners says really irritated me.
Uh-huh.
And, of course, it's about your comments about Israel.
Of course.
I find them, of course, because I find them very, very ignorant. And if you don't cut me off,
I'm
I'll
going to sit right
explain
still
to you
and
why.
let you crank.
Okay, first of all, this historical Bible scholar that says that when the Jews came to the Promised Land, when Moses brought them to the Promised Land, that there was no for rent sign. First of all, if he goes a little bit farther in the Bible back, where Jacob's family came from Canaan to Egypt, so they were there beforehand. Second of all, if you want to go
to the same people, sir. They're the same people. Of course they came.
If you want to go to historical, point of view, the view is that there were probably Israelis that were slaves in Egypt, but the majority of them remained in Canaan, and they were there all the time. You can go either way.
Sure.
Second of all, you say about the Indians. First of all, the Israelis have more right, historically, to Israel than the Americans have to the United States.
I'll grant you that.
Okay.
You spent some time there.
Second of all, you said that there should be peace, and the Israelis should give it back. During the state of Israel, since Israel has been a state, let's go backwards. First of all, you had a war between Iraq and Kuwait. Then you had between Yemen and North Yemen and South Yemen. You had Egypt. You had between Morocco and you had Algeria against Algeria. You had Libya against Egypt, and you had about 10 others. I can't remember them all. So if the Israelis made peace with the Palestinians tomorrow, that certainly doesn't guarantee peace in the Middle East, and it doesn't guarantee an end to terrorism.
No one ever said anything about guarantee. But
okay, well, it doesn't. There's no chance of it because the way they hate it.
You don't think that it's something worth working towards at all, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, I'm letting you talk. You don't think that that's something worth working towards? Is the peace thing?
Yes, it is worth working towards, but it's not. Chamberlain said the same thing. Peace in our time. It depends. It's a very ugly expression. The only thing these people understand is force. That's one of the ugliest, most fascistic expression there is.
I agree.
But in some cases, it's true. And this is what the Arabs themselves believe. And you talk about Yasser Arafat. Now, Rabin got along with him better than the Arabs do. Mubarak hated him. Sadat loathed him. Assad hates him. But right away, the Israelis are supposed to trust him. Every Arab leader, except I think.
I don't think the issue is Arafat.
Let's start back a little further. When this thing has been going on for a long time, and the Israelis did not displace the Arabs. It's a recorded fact. You can look in newspapers.
There was all this empty land when the ships left.
No, there was plenty of empty land. In fact, the British, before Herzl, before anybody, one of the British came up with an idea, I forget his name, that they should send the Jews back to the Holy Land because it was a wasteland to build it back up again. That was a British idea. It didn't come from a Jew. Another thing, Churchill said the same thing. Churchill was no Zionist. He said that if it wasn't for the Jews, Israel would have remained a wasteland the way it was before they came. And you say they drove them out. Take a look at the almanacs. It's very easy. Go back and look at the almanacs for the years since the Zionist movement, and you'll see the Arab population increased like never before. The Arab population was declining before then.
Sir?
Yeah.
You don't hear me talking while you're talking, do you?
No, okay,
so you don't have to get all loud.
Okay, go talk.
Go ahead. No, I don't want to talk. I'm just saying you're getting increasingly louder, and I don't know why.
Okay, now, go back in an almanac and look, and you'll see that the Arab population increased ever since the state of Israel. It never decreased in all the time that the Jews have tried to resettle the land. Second of all, the League of Nations came in and tried to referee the dispute. So what they did is they took what they call Palestine, which, by the way, is named after Philistines, which are a Mediterranean people that come there from the land thousands of years after the Israelis came there. That's where the name Palestinian comes from the Philistines, who were either from Crete or Greece or somewhere.
Peoples of the sea, right, wiped out the Greek Empire, yes?
Yeah, no, they didn't wipe out the Greek Empire.
Well, there were a lot of things going on, but they were the ones credited for it.
But anyway, the Palestine the original Palestine was supposed to be the Jewish homeland, according to the League of Nations, included what is today Israel and the occupied territories and plus Jordan. So what they did was that wasn't good enough for the Arabs. So what they did is they gave 3/4 of it and made it Jordan and gave that to the Arabs. And the Israelis didn't complain. They weren't Israelis then, but the Jews living there didn't complain. They accepted that. Then the UN, the League of Nations, I think it was the UN, came in with a partition plan to give the West Bank, take even more of it, give 1/3 of it more to the Arabs, the West Bank, and the rest the Israelis. The Israelis did not fight against this. The Israelis accepted it. The Arabs didn't. And there are documented cases, you can look it up in newspapers, of, for instance, the mayor of Haifa pleading with the Arabs not to leave during the war. And you can also look up in Arab newspapers where the Arab armies were saying to the Palestinians, get out of the way, leave.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I love this call. You're doing my job for me, but we're late for a break. Just very, very quickly, what do we do now?
What do we do now is, what's your definition of a Palestinian state?
My definition? I don't have a definition of a Palestinian state. What do you, what would you have done?
Let me tell you what a Palestinian state is. Jordan is 70% Palestinian, or 70 to 80% Palestinian.
What do we do, sir? What should they do over there? What should they do? Bottom line.
That's their state.
That's their state. Okay.
Now, wait a minute.
Thank you very much. No, I can't wait a minute because we're late for a break. 1:12 on QAM.
Pissed off gets me fired up when I hear someone say that.
Boy!
In the year 2000, or should I say 2001, is that when everyone's supposed to die? In the year 2025, we're gonna be more confused, but still alive, despite the fairy tales of Judgment Day. Like all the Michigoyans say, in the year 2888, you're gonna look around and find that nothing has changed outside of innovative things to use, like faster ways of the frosting food. Ooh. In the year 3010, Lithium will have a new chip again. Radio as we know it will be dead. We'll listen to the internet instead. In the year 3025, gas prices will be so high, we won't want to drive. Fox will only feature primetime cartoons, and the president will be a Jew. Whoa. Now it's been 1,000,000 years. How about that? We're still right here. Go find something else to do. Your predictions won't come true. And when you find a life, perhaps you'll realize that all those years away is just another day. In the year 9999, will we go through this again and hear you whine? We won't be able to watch TV unless we upgrade to a Microsoft screen. In the year 3010, I'm sure that Santiam will have a new chip again.
119.560 WQAM swimsuit spectacular on Fashion Files today, so just when I thought it was all depressing. I really don't want anyone to get all hysterical about this issue. And what was really inspiring to me is a while back, and Neil talked about it because some of the kids were good looking. They had this group in Maine of Jewish Israelis, let's make the distinction, of Israelis and Palestinians, and it was a 50-50 group, and they got them together to discuss this issue, and they wound up making friends, making nicey-nicey, and working it out and sharing each other's feelings, and what they concluded was, yes, they would be able to get along with each other if they decided to put the weapons and the rocks and everything down and just made it a big, happy, joint, whatever, give some rights to the Palestinians, get them to where, they could be elected officials or whatever and just make it a nice, homey place. They could get along with each other. These kids were getting along with each other. If they can do it, anyway. Mobile in Miami, hello.
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 Yeah, hi. Good
Hi.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I usually don't call these talk shows. I understand that you...
I've never called one.
Yeah. I understand that you have to, generate a little controversy to stimulate conversation.
That's right.
And I appreciate that.
Okay.
But there was one comment while I was driving that I heard that you talked about the fact that you just don't want to, make sure you don't get blown up on an airplane somewhere over controversies that are happening far away.
Yeah.
And I think that's a legitimate concern. But I'm curious as to, how would you feel if, let's say, I don't know, tomorrow somebody blew up a domestic Delta airline flight.
Well, they blew up the Trade Center.
No, or blew up some other...
They're blowing up buildings over here. We don't have to take a flight.
And suddenly said, listen, we're going to continue blowing it up if the United States continues to give any support whatsoever to Israel.
Oh, I understand that.
Would you advocate the United States not support Israel anymore?
You are absolutely correct that we cannot cave to terrorist practices. And that's what you're saying, I assume. That
I'm saying not only that.
We can't buckle under and say, oh, you're blowing up our planes, therefore. No, the reason that they need to resolve this over there isn't because of the airplane thing, and you're absolutely right. We just throw crap out here hoping that somebody will call, and it worked with you, so thank you.
Yeah, you've hit me with it, and I've called.
Exactly. Thank you very much. But so, no, we don't give in to blackmailers. We don't give in to terrorists. We shouldn't do that. But the fact that there are terrorists, that's a symptom of a problem. You understand that there's anger behind the terrorism.
There's no question.
And the terrorism, because, and by the way, I don't blame all of the Arabs or all of the Palestinians for these terrorists. Not all of them support it. I know that's a revolutionary concept to say that most Palestinians don't believe in terrorist practices. Nobody believes me when I say that, but guess what? They don't.
Well, I agree with you there.
Because most Palestinians and Arabs don't believe in the taking of innocent life. I know that that's revolutionary, but they really don't. So it's not like they're to blame. You have these pockets of very, very pissed off people that believe that any means justifies the end, right?
You realize also that since this, I guess, whatever we call it, the peace process today has begun, there's been an increase of terrorism in the region and internationally.
Because you've got both sides that have, each side has its own hate-filled group, very extremist, very hate-filled group, that don't want peace. They won't stop short of the death of the other group.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't know if that's an accurate statement, because I think a lot of the terrorism...
Really?
No, well, a lot of the... First of all, the terrorism that has, been on the Israeli side has been really de minimis. You've had an incident.
Well, they don't have to resort to terrorism.
No.
You've
had an incident. You've had an incident in the mosque, and you also had an incident with the assassination of Rabin. Now, one was an internal act against the prime minister, an assassin, and the other one obviously was an aberration that you had a person that was a right-wing religious fanatic.
The Israelis don't have to resort. They don't have to resort to terrorism.
99.9% of the terrorism
they have the upper hand.
Is perpetrated by Hamas.
Right.
And it's also perpetrated not only on Israel, but among the Arabs themselves. So on each other. So you have a situation where many of the mayors within Palestinian areas have been executed by more extreme Arabs. So you have situations that are going on there. And the issue of peace, there never will be peace, of course. But there will be.
That's so sad.
No, well, it's a reality.
It is a reality. I agree with you. It's just a sad
What has to be strived for, and what I think is going on in Israel now with the political change in government, is a recognition that there has to be some sort of level of comfort that can arrive from all this. It won't be peace. It won't be like a border like we have with Canada,
so what do you
or a border like we have with Mexico, but there may be a level of comfort where there's
like a cool stalemate.
Yeah, where you can at least diffuse it. But what has to happen, the only way this can work, and what Netanyahu was right on, was the fact that the Arabs and specifically the Palestinians and the government, the autonomous government there, has to police their own people and make sure that Hamas does not continue. And what Arafat has done is he's played both ways.
Right.
On the one hand,
you know what? He's very unpopular among his own people because he's too nice to the Israelis.
Well, no. I mean, I think what
that's
he's done
getting
is
a lot of criticism on
he has
because
not cracked down. He has not cracked down sufficiently, and that in itself violates the hostility.
Well, they only recently got the ability to do that. I watched the whole news show as they marched the new Palestinian cops out there. That just happened.
Well,
it was only very recently that they got the ability to police themselves.
Interestingly enough, too, many, under Rabin, I mean, he did arm some of those Palestinian police.
Yeah.
Well, that's to be able to enforce it. And some of those Palestinian police, then, when there were uprisings in Hebron, were shooting on Israelis. So you have it is such a difficult, complicated situation.
Yeah.
And like I say, there may be, and certainly relationships with other countries like Jordan, like Egypt,
they don't want refugees.
But the
they don't.
key to it all is to stop the extremism.
Oh,
and
God.
that's what the United States and Israel have in common in that region.
Right. They do. Both sides need to cut the crap with the extremism and stuff like that. So basically, these surrounding countries, and in spite of the fact that the Palestinians share a religion, they don't want refugees coming over the border either. So what's your plan? Occupied territories. Give them.
I don't. To tell you the truth, I mean. When you say, what's your plan, I don't know.
You're a sharp guy. I mean, you picked up on the comment. I made that joke in passing. You picked up. Very valid, because obviously we're not going to give in because of the terrorists. That's just a symptom.
We could just as well. You could have somebody blow up a plane and say, if Jews fly TWA, we'll continue blowing up planes. What would TWA do then?
You picked up a good comment. But so what's your idea? What's your suggestion?
Well, I think what has to happen.
You're very informed on the area, so.
Yeah, I mean, what I think has to happen is I think that there has to be leadership within the Arab world. Certainly, Jordan has moved from, Hussein in his earlier years. I mean, the Black September movement started because Hussein was killing so many of the Palestinians within his own country to save his head.
They're on.
And he had then, reinvented himself through relations with Israel and other countries in that fashion, and he's maintained his head and he died with a decent legacy. If you could get other Arab leaders
like that
to be able to move and to create more of a democratic society within these countries, I think that can happen. But you're battling an entire feudal system.
Yep.
I mean, how do you turn a Saudi Arabia into a democrat? That's an impossibility. In Iraq and Iran, you're dealing with a culture that, as Americans, we have no concept of.
It's really alien to us. Anyways, we're out of time. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. And more people like King Hussein. He was really cool. He wasn't a hothead. He was kind of moderate. And more people like Mr. Rabin, who was a great guy, but too bad he got blown away. 127, 560 WQAM.
Not that you have to suck.
I had a chick named Kay. One day she flew away to Tijuana, where the moon is blue. The moon is blue. But with our right-wing censorship, there are words that mustn't slip to truly tell you how I feel for Kay. So, if you see Kay in Tijuana, I'll see you in Tijuana too. Now if you see Kay, tell her I miss her each day, and the FCC won't let me sing this song I wrote today. Now if you see Kay, take her hand, gently say that after this transmission I'll be out in 90 days. Oh, if you see Kay in Tijuana, then I'll see you in Tijuana. Go, wanna go, but gotta see you in Tijuana too.
27-2-560 WQAM. That song goes out special for Melissa and Joan Rivers, but most especially Melissa, because she has no reason to be there whatsoever. At least Joan, once upon a time, I'm sure I must have heard her say something funny at one time. At least she can talk. But Melissa, and for these two what that song said. To be sitting there talking about other people and their appearance and their clothes, give me a f***ing break. Melissa, darling, just in the off chance that somebody down here knows her and can relay this back to her. You're ugly. Your face is ugly. Your body is ugly. Your hair is ugly, and your voice is ugly, and your whole damn attitude and personality is ugly. You're everything that I can't stand about television. That the fact that they put people like you on there to talk about stuff, and they're showing this thing on E over and over again because they're critiquing these what the celebrities wear. And I like to watch that just because I want to see the celebs show some flesh, like Rose McGowan, Marilyn Manson's girlfriend, and they were dogging her. They were, by the way, get that checkerboard off her breasts already. I want to see that. They don't understand that those of us, the general public, we watch that kind of crap because we want to see something funky going on. I don't want to turn on the TV and see a mirror and see the same kind of boring ass people. I want people dressed like Carlos on my television because that's what I turn on the TV for, is to see people that'll freak me out. I just said, thank you, Carlos, for bringing our mail in there. We want to see, plunging necklines. We want to see sheer clothes. We don't care what you think, Joan, and especially your daughter. You're no talent. Would some rich guy marry her already so that she can go off and get off of our TV? The least qualified to be talking about anybody, couple of people, but most especially Melissa with those bobby pins in her hair. Critiquing people with those three, is that some kind of a fashion statement? Wash the grease out of your hair, you bitch. But anyway, Lady Miami, hello.
George?
Yes.
Man, I know, I think that she thinks that she's a dog, man.
Who?
Melissa?
She is a dog.
I
thought all Jewish girls got free nose jobs when they turned 16. Isn't that a tradition?
They should get a gift certificate.
Yeah.
No, I think, Rosie O'Donnell, I think that she's so fat that if you took her to Miami Aquarium, that they mistaken her for Shamu the whale.
Okay. Thank you very much, and please call us again sometime next year. Mobile in Pembroke Pines, hello.
How you doing?
All right.
I just thought that you brought up something before that really fits that Arab-Israeli problem.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up the cowboys and the Indians.
Right.
Okay. The cowboys and the Indians, if you look at how the movies are portrayed,
right.
Every movie, 99.9%,
the Indians
are the bad guys.
Right.
Well, that's how the Arabs are portrayed by the Zionists.
Oh, no question.
The Zionists in America.
Because of their, well, I'm not going to say that it's a big Jewish plot, but
of
basically
course it is.
They get
How do you
they get a
define
bad
terrorism?
rap because of the terrorists, and the
No,
terrorists
wait a
don't
second.
represent the general population.
Let's name great Israeli statesmen, David Ben-Gurion, Yitzhak Shamir. Okay, let's name those two just to start with. They were part of an Israeli terrorist team that blew up the King David Hotel and killed 109 British soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they're not terrorists because they're Israeli. Which is more terrorist, a Palestinian 9-year-old throwing a rock, or an Israeli tank shooting at children and killing 2,000 at a time? Which is more terrorist in your eyes? But we don't get to hear that because that's anti-Semite. You're anti-Semitism.
Well, no one is...
you could say bad things about Italians and Irish and Catholics, but if you say, and a Cuban, of course you would know that, right?
Right.
But if you say a bad thing about a Jew, you're an anti-Semite.
Right.
Well, I have news
no
for
one
you.
has called me that
Many
yet
Arab
today,
nations are
and I
Semitic.
thank my wonderful Jewish brothers and sisters out there that no one has called up and accused me of being an anti-Semite over the crazy Israelis. Oh, off the air they have.
But you ask what should be done in the Middle East. Why not?
I'm going for peace. How can I be anti-Semitic when I want everybody to hug each other?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you know what? Every time that the peace accord has been broken, it's been broken by Netanyahu.
Okay.
That's clear. That is clear.
Okay, that's this guy saying this, not me. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, because Bibi's political position certainly is nowhere near what Yitzhak's was. That goes without saying. So they're calling me anti-Semitic off the air.
They're especially upset with your comment about all Jewish girls deserving a nose job.
Oh, no, I didn't say that they deserve a nose job. I said I thought that they automatically get one.
They still thought that was very insensitive.
I know 3 beautiful, wonderful Jewish girls, and they've all had nose jobs. And it was like a 16th-year-old birthday present. That was a joke for the people that don't understand what humor is all about. That was a joke. I love my Jew. And as a matter of fact, that high school crowd, when I worked my way in and they finally made friends with me, we had one of each. We had a wonderful, sweet, beautiful, large-breasted Jewish American princess in that crowd who I was very happy to call a friend then and now and ever. So whatever. If you can't take a joke, go to Israel, because obviously they're very hostile over there. Mobile in Palm Beach, hello.
Hey, George.
Yes.
How you doing?
All right.
How's your wife and my 2 kids?
She's great. Your 2 kids are fine. Why don't you come over and feed them, you deadbeat? So we're going screenless now? Is that what's going on? All right. Anti-Semite. Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
I want to talk about Star Wars.
What about it?
I just want to see what you think about it. The new one.
You missed this. I did a whole Wednesday show. I spent 4 hours pretty much dogging it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I mean, I like the lightsaber battle. I like the droid battle. Other than that,
The storyline wasn't that bad. People are ragging on the storyline. I thought it was pretty good.
There's nothing wrong with the storyline. I just thought the actors were walking through it. Nobody was excited to be there.
Yeah, but they're stoic. These guys are
characters
Jedi.
were flat.
They're supposed to be stoic. They're supposed to be like...
No. There's a difference between stoic and just a flat acting job. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you just didn't like the acting, huh? No.
They were flat. They were not happy to be there. I would have been so excited to be a part of that project just because of the instant fame, just to be a part of that whole hype wave. I would have been excited, even if I didn't like the genre. But they were like, just kind of mouthing their lines, you know.
Well, my quick take on it, it's better than Return of the Jedi, a little bit worse than Star Wars, The First One, A New Hope, and obviously Empire Strikes Back is the best one. So.
Okay, that's what you said. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite one also, but I think it was the worst of all of them, hands down. The characters, I was trying to find a character when I went to see it again, and by the way, yes, I went and saw it again. I had to take the daughter. I really wanted to find a character that I could, like in this whole thing, and I couldn't. It was like, except for, of course, Darth Maul, but nevertheless, his whole 5 minutes in the movie. 21 till 2 on 560 WQAM.
So, Bob Green, I want to tell you something. You're all a bunch of son of a bitches. I just heard what you said.
What did I
You want to get rid of this old kike on the phone. You're going to pretend that you care. Who the fuck are you?
Well, excuse your language.
Use your language.
When some schlummeal tries to put me down and says he has a larger congregation, I tell him right away, now listen here, Nick, ain't you heard about show? It's #1 in the nation. All the space, cable dollars, we're so be true to your show. Like your wood to your mule. Be true to your show. I can't leave your school. Be true to your show.
Okay.
Yarmulke embroidered in gold, it sure is bold. I wear it everywhere when I go round to other AZAs. They don't know what to say, so be true to your show. Variation made. Be true to your show. Support the neighbors. Be true to your show. I'll be jacked up on the Sabbath service. I'll be ready to pray. I'll be standing now. My girlfriend's at the altar in the choir now. She'll be singing away. Be true to your show. Let your talent fail. Be true to your show. Let your throw down. Be true to your show.
Thirteen till 2, 560 WQAM. I played that for the hysterical guy that keeps calling and bugging Robert. Didn't you tell him that you were Jewish and stop bugging you about it?
He doesn't get
about all the anti-Semitic comments. I thought the Jewish people were supposed to have a sense of humor. Oh, that's a stereotype. Lenny Bruce is rolling over in his grave right now. He didn't hear my whole Jewish envy spiel, how I gave them the Ethnic Achievement of the World Award. And here's another thing. Of all the groups of people that I have ever known, I can count the number of assholes, of Jewish assholes I've met on one hand, not counting our sales department, or then I would need to take my shoes off. But nevertheless, I can't say that about any other group. I certainly can't say that about the Cubans. I have more Jewish friends than probably any other kind, not counting the Irish. I just thought about, the wife and I, a lot of Irish friends. How'd that work out? Because, I certainly do more Mick jokes, and have more comments for the Irish, the drunken Irish, than I ever have about the Jewish people. This is the first time I've ever even mentioned it. And you got all these hysterical people calling up over this Israel thing, for crying out loud. I love the Jewish people. Love, love, love. I have Jewish envy, for crying out loud. If there's a foosball contest in heaven, I'm sure that it's about who gets to be born Jewish, after the 40s, of course. Coral Springs, hello.
How you doing, George?
All right.
I want to talk about Israel a little bit. I have a sense of humor, but I think the difference is, when Rabin was in there, a bunch of Jews would get blown up, like 4th of July fireworks, and then everybody would complain, and Rabin would, oh, this is terrible, and the other side, Arafat would say, well, okay, yeah, I know, we'll do something about this, and yeah. And then maybe they slap somebody on the hand for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not as much peace with Netanyahu because he's saying, I'm not putting up with this crap. You're not going to sit there and blow us up and then say, well, we want peace.
Okay.
I want to get your opinion. Also, I think it's about time that people take personal responsibility with guns. I think people. I'm not one of those gun nuts that think guns should be should disappear and not. I think if you're 21, you should be able to own a gun. But if you commit a crime
assuming you're not a crazy person or a criminal.
Right, but if you do commit a crime with the gun...
How about, a crime, period.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about different. If you commit a crime with a gun, then you should get an automatic 10 or 15 years added onto your sentence where there's no downtime,
I think they already have that going on in most places.
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
It hasn't seemed to be.
The burglars, I saw it on, what show did I see it on? They say, he who robs with a gun in his hand gets 10 to 20 in the can. That's what the criminals...
And also, I think one thing they should enact into law right away is the fact that not put an age limit on 16. I don't care if you're 13, 12, 14... You commit a crime, you might think about it. You actually do time first.
Right.
I mean, it's just common sense.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
All right, take care, George.
No problem. Oh, I forgot to ask him about how he was going to solve the whole Middle East peace thing. Damn it. Oh, well, maybe the next person has a solution. Mobile and Tamarack, hello. They just hung up right as soon as I pressed the button. How do you like that? Mobile in Miami.
George.
Yes. Oh, this is one of those guys. I thought I told you, the young Spanish accents, they're all gay, but they don't want to admit it to themselves, so they call Neil. And then they bother me when he's not here because they have to have their fag fix for the day. So just as well, because I have another Bijou Phillips thing queued up. So it doesn't matter. I don't need any phone calls. We got 10 minutes left. It's Friday. Feeling good again. We can play this other song from Bijou. I didn't know this was the sister. She was wearing a slit skirt on Leno, you said? You know what? They would sell way more of these CDs if they would put something skimpy on the cover, or at least on the little booklet on the inside. If I promoted this thing and said that they had some skimpy pictures of Bijou on the inside, who is a looker, by the way, this thing would be selling. You couldn't keep it in the stores. Okay, that's enough for now because we've got to take a break. I forgot we can't back this one up because that would be rude, and we don't want to do that to Hank. 8 till 2 on 560 WQAM.